Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things. Breathe better. Live better.
Freedom! So fresh, so new. Freedom! It's all for you. All for you. Freedom! Keep your ear to the ground. Talking about the freedom. It's the best show in town. Best show in town. Freedom! Freedom! I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. And they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
Watch chess tournaments online? Don't just watch. Go to Chess24 and make it an interactive learning experience. You get live commentary in multiple languages, including different streams in English from beginner to expert. It's not just commentary, since there's also an interactive live board. Choose your game and try out your own moves. All moves by the players get near-instant cloud analysis from the latest chess engine, which will also analyze any move made by a premium user. Open the tab Opening Tree. It contains a database of 500 million positions from historical games. Has the current position ever occurred before? What did the best players play? The database tab lets you search full games and load them on the interactive board. There are many more tools for chess learners and experts. Come to Chess24 to watch all the online and over-the-board chess tournaments happening worldwide. Discover a new way to watch chess. Be part of the experience.
Let's take someone with a random account, with a random name that just seems attractive.
Play live online against the world's top chess players while they stream their thoughts live. As a Chess24 Premium member, seize the chance to have your moment of fame. Get a peek inside their lives with question and answer sessions, in-depth teaching, analysis and interviews. The Champions Chess Tour, with countless accompanying events, is happening now. Tune in on Chess24.
Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself.
So BC, I like this move because it really puts actually also my general idea that it's to give a choice to your opponent, it's always good, yeah? Because you never know, to give a chance to your opponent to make a mistake, it's always pleasant, yeah? Especially I was told, you know, I learned this years, and when you play, let's say, opponent who is much weaker than you, If you force him to play with only moves, he'll find it. But if you give a choice, that's where the difference in your strengths will tell.
Right, so maybe it's time to do some calculation, make sure we'll be able to see some hidden and hard moves during the tournament. Just like when we are facing some problems, no matter within chessboard or outside chessboard, and then we saw it's very complicated, we didn't find the solutions or whatever, but sometimes we just need to step back and, trying to think about this question as we saw it the first time and as a beginner with a fresh mind, right?
Yeah, you played this question, okay.
Yeah, this one I remember. Yeah. This one I think I have seen, but I don't remember.
Yeah, just the analysis I will be more curious. The game I'm pretty sure you have seen the game.
Yeah, I remember actually.
Okay, put it in chat.
How do you know all the positions?
Yeah, okay, so completely ruining the fun, yeah? You guys know this position?
Yeah, Mamedya Aroni.
Oh, Mukesh, what do I do with you?
To say is that when you play.
Hello everyone, and we come to the final countdown. That's my singing. Just so I have to try to keep up with Danny. He's so good on the guitar. Well, at the end of the show when he got his guitar out, he was tired. Let's just leave it at that. But it's the last day today, and it's been a great tournament so far. We've seen very good fighting chess all the way through it. I mentioned at the start that I thought it was really cool that they invited the streamers Eric Hansen and Daniel Naroditsky along to play. Daniel Naroditsky nearly qualified, so I hope he at least gets an invite back again. Just my personal thoughts on the tournament as a whole. You obviously need the main guns in the competition, like your Magnuses, like your big names, but I really like the idea of inviting sort of more people to give everyone a chance, give some of the other elite players a chance. So I hope that is done more often in the future, that some other of our favorite streamers and just personalities, people who play interesting chess is what I want to see take part, so I hope that continues. So hello to everyone in the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on Twitch and on YouTube. I wonder who the first person is going to be on YouTube who says, "Where's Tanya?" Or, "Oh no, I'm missing Peter Lecco." Now, guys, we have to explain this every day. There's always going to be one. Who's it going to be? Who's going to get the prize today? They're both working. They have other things they have to do as well. And as fantastic as they are, they do have other bits and bobs they need to do. So I'm not going to explain that again. But let's just see who it is. Let's see who it is. Someone's going to come along and say it. And they deserve a prize of some sort, I think. Get that ginger off. We want Tanya. Yeah, I can understand that, So before we get cracking with the chess, and we're going to have a look at, well, this leg is the Aimchess leg of the Champions Tour. And I've been really enjoying Aimchess as we go along. Aimchess is something you can get on an app, so you can download it to your phone. Great accessibility on your phone. You can get it on your desktop, where I'm using it now. I've literally just put in here my, the aimchess.com account. I'm a registered user. You guys, you should register as well. I believe even if you want to try what I'm going to try out for free, then it is free. So you can get a 40-game report for free, which is fantastic. So you can all play along with us as we go. So you can all do this. And what it does, and we've done this every day, so I'm maybe not going into as much detail, but it does just take your games, and let's just have a look. I'm going to go to the scouting. You've got personalized plans, lots of other things you can do, but the scouting is the interesting part. And all you do is create a report. So I'll just show you how I do it. It's very easy. You press that button, it brings up your favorite chess site, the main free here, chess.com, league chess, chess24. You put your username in, you put the time control in, you bash the button, continue, and you get a report. We've got a report made here for, let's call Sven. I'm going to click on Sven's report, and here you are, Bob's your uncle. You have a report already made, and Sven is looking at his bullet games. Wow. So you can do it at different time limits, and I just think it's a great little thing you can all try out. And if you love it, obviously upgrade to the premium subscription, because it's a way to help you in a fun manner improve your chess. So here we go, the opening, and we've looked at this before. So again, straight away you get a representation of your strengths and weaknesses. There's 6 main categories in this part of the program. I do recommend you try out the other personalized lessons and stuff like that when you dive into it. But we can see here that Sven, who is the purple line, and you can see he's well above his peers. And this is the control group, people of the same rating as you, how they're performing. He's very good at putting the ball in the back of the net, very good at advantage capitalization. His openings are good, they're better than the average. His tactics, well, that's maybe one thing you can work on. His endings are very good. Look at that, nearly double what the average is for his peers. So I think what we'd do, if the thing with this is you don't need to employ a coach, because you've got your own coach. Aimchess is your coach, right? Aimchess is there to help you. So we now know that our weakest area is probably time management and tactics. I'm not going to bother with time management because it's bullet chess. But let's just go all the way down. That's my little sound effects there. Cheap budget we're working on today. And we go to the tactics. And you can see here, it's pretty, once you understand how things work, it's a very clear sight. And you can see here that blunders, average mistakes per game is 3.6. Okay, but that's not so bad. We're going to compare that to, again, the control group, people of a similar rating to you. Well, let's have a look at that. So this is for a 1600 player Sven, and he's 3.6. And you can see the control group, and this is players between, the similar rating, actually a bit higher on average, how much they blunder, and it is bullet chess, and they're blundering about the same. So it's not actually a disaster here, but you can now get these regular tactics, and this is so cool, right? And you've got different modes you can try out, and you can do regular or full force. So let's have a look at the regular tactics, because we know we want to check here, and it's like bang bang, right, where are the tactics? Who's going to spot the tactic here? Come on, first person in the chat wins a piece of ginger. I'm not going to send you a piece of ginger, go and buy your own ginger, but you get my point. Come on, white to play and win. What's the winning move? Come on. Someone find it. Anyone? I'm waiting for you in the chat. Well done. I'm moaning. Is that right? moaning on the Twitch chat. Yes, you just go queen takes queen, and you go there and you pick off everything. So you can practice tactics in your rating boundary and win yourself a bit of ginger there, man. Well done. And there you go. What a brilliant way to improve your chess. And the thing I really like about it is just how quick you can get into it. Everyone's so impatient nowadays. We want quick results, we want quick hits, and with Aimchess, and just give it a go, you get your report nearly immediately. If you do sign up to the proper premium one, which I recommend, then you would get a report of all the games you've ever played, and that would be eye-openingly interesting. We can see that this chap Sven, he shouldn't really be playing on a Wednesday, should he? What is he doing? What's he more interesting? He's got a life. He doesn't play on Mondays. He doesn't play chess on Mondays. He's not an addict. Well, he makes up for it on a Thursday night there. Maybe putting a bit of music on, gets his blitz games on, gets his bullet chess rocking and rolling. I hate bullet chess, by the way. I can't stand it. It's all about who's got the quicker wrist, I feel. and my wrist is not that quick. But there we go. So Aimchess, it's worth checking out. Now, sponsoring this leg of the tour is your favorite browser, which I'm using here, the fantastically marvelous Opera browser with its own VPN and loads of very cool functions, so you can check that out. And also Airthings, and this is your air device to check the air quality in your room and keep you healthy, basically. So very, very useful sponsors. Go and have a look at them. Now, I can see Danny is getting ready, so we're going to bring on the myth, the legend, the I can't remember what it was called now.
The what? The
myth, the legend. I'm trying to hype you up, but I'm just saying random words, Danny.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't prepare anything, so I'm kind of freestyling it quite badly here. The prolific author. That was it. The rhubarb muncher.
Yeah. Maybe that should have been prepared a bit better.
Okay, thanks, Danny. Yeah, okay. Danny King, how are you doing, Danny?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm fine. It's a beautiful day. Well, it must be the same where you are. It's a fantastic day here.
It is brilliant.
I hope you enjoyed your morning. Is it chilled?
Yeah, it was all right. I actually got out on my bike, just a cycle bike, push bike, but did about an hour and a half in the sun down by the river, and little fate I stopped off at. It was lovely, very nice. So what about yourself, Danny? Did you do anything?
Same. Very very chilled. Went for a little walk in the park. Just loads of people out and about. Yeah, really really lovely day actually. So all is good, and here we are trapped inside. But actually, I'm very excited because we know that there is going to be a winner today, and we know that Artemiev has a very clear aim. He needs to beat Carlsen to get to a tiebreak. So all the pressure on Artemiev, and it's going to be a really tough one. But it's going to be fascinating to see how he tries to nick this second set. What do you think? Can he do it?
I think it's going to be very tough. I would say no, to be honest. I think Magnus really was never in trouble in any games. Well, maybe the second game you could say, but that was from the opening, and even then he kind of was never really struggling that much. He was never losing, or maybe a bit worse. But he seemed to really have Vladislav's number, and he's also got a slight advantage, I think, of having two whites in the first three games when he only needs to get 2 points today. So if Magnus gets 2 points, then he's basically won, because Vladislav needs to win.
That's a very good point. So. Yeah, all the pressure on. I mean, I'm just wondering what Carlsen's tactics are going to be, because I think, sometimes there can be that doubt in your mind where, are you playing for Magnus knows if he gets 4 draws, he's fine. 2-2 wins it for him. So how far does he push it? Is that going to affect his normal mindset, whether he's going all out for the win? That's the only thing. I think he has to clear that up in his mind. Is he playing normally? Is he just going to be playing for a win as normal? Or is he just going to play very steadily? Because I think that's the only little bit of doubt, actually.
I would imagine from Magnus's point of view, he would just play normally. He's quite used to being in these situations. The worst that can happen is that he loses 3 games in a row and he goes to the Blitz playoff, right? Which is still not that bad, because you've got a chance in the Blitz. So it's like you're kind of like, the pressure's really off. So I don't think he needs to do anything he doesn't normally do, Danny. I mean, he plays pretty good, solid, risk-free chess anyway. So why not just do that? Don't go for a draw. Don't play for a draw. Try to win the games is what I think he will do, and what he'll probably do.
But do you know what I mean? Sometimes when you know that a kind of draw is okay, it can affect your mindset. Whereas I think for Artemiev, it's much clearer what he has to do. Anyway, we're kicking off. Here we go. what's Artemiev going to do? Is he going to do something wild and wacky? Is he going to play solid with black? Let's find out. I think Carlsen doing the right thing. He's just playing classically. He's not messing about with any kind of slice serve openings. He's just putting his bits in the center, which seems like absolutely the right tactics to me.
And I think knight f3 is a clever move because, as you may remember, Danny, knight to c3 was what he played yesterday, but that allowed this c5 move and of course you can still do that. But I think knight f3 gives you a bit more flexibility against Tarrasch, possibly. So he's trying to avoid those gambity lines we saw. And knight bd7, a bit of a sideline here, Danny, that has become a little bit popular recently, with some weird idea of taking on c4 and going b5. This is sort of quite a recent invention, this idea that black may well be trying here.
But I mean, there are. I mean, white has many options. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And now bishop f4. Oh, he's played queen c2. Okay, you can do that. I mean, I don't think you need to be so sophisticated here. I mean, I think just bishop f4 is a very safe and solid move. But seems to me that queen c2 is maybe an indication that Carlsen is still, he wants to try and get something from this position. So he's basically just delaying where he's going to put the bishop. But okay, he goes to g5. I think bishop f4 is, I think, a bit more testing actually.
Right. Okay.
But bishop g5, very solid. So we're basically just going into, well, with bishop e7, a very standard Queen's Gambit exchange variation, which, yeah, there we go. So e3, bishop d3. I mean, personally, I think this is very hard for white to get a serious advantage in this. I feel that black is fine, but it depends how Carlsen wants to do it. If he wants to sort of go queenside here, then there we go. All right, so that's really interesting. If Carlsen wanted to play very solidly, you can just go bishop d3 and castle, but he's gone queenside. So I find that a fascinating decision. There's no doubt in Carlsen's mind how he wants to play this match. I mentioned, is he going to be hesitating a bit? Is he going to go full throttle? He's gone queenside, and you absolutely don't need to do that in this position.
No, I think queenside is one of the more main lines, isn't it, as well?
Sure. Do you know what I mean? Castles is a much more solid option.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen lots of games in these positions where both sides basically castle queenside, and it's not supposed to be much, this variation for white with a knight on f3, even this line. I think this line where black goes knight h5, swaps a pair of bishops off is again one of the modern ways black plays this line to try and get equality. But even against this, some players play with a knight on e2 and this f3 idea still. This plan is not supposed to be really any advantage for white, but it's a position, of course, pieces on the board, and a very typical pawn structure, Danny, this as well. Maybe one of the most important pawn structures to learn if you're going to play the Queen's Gambit, because in many positions when you capture on d5, you will get this pawn structure. I mean, Keith Arkell springs to mind, Danny. I know he loves these pawn structures, the minority attack. He's made a living really playing this kind of position in a standard format.
Yeah, what's interesting about this is G6, of course, gives the knight a route back to G7, and then you can potentially swap the bishops off. But G6 is a useful move anyway, because you might castle kingside here still. So it of course, it's just useful to claim this square. But I was just going to go back a couple of moves, because here, the kind of modern way of playing this position is to flick in h6 and then go knight h5. And you can kind of claim that you win a tempo, because after bishop d3, then of course there's no threat here. And you can just castle in this position. Well, in fact, in this position, you can actually go knight f4. That's another story. But that's the idea, that if, let's say, castles queenside, it is actually possible to go kingside here. So I find it interesting that Artemiev just hasn't bothered with that little finesse. He's gone straight for this, which is kind of the old way of playing, actually. So we've got g6, h3, forcing the bishop to make a decision. So there is some imbalance here, and queen b3. So that's what we've got on the board. Magnus playing very quickly, and Artemiev playing reasonably quickly as well.
Yeah, just to let people know as well, we will be joined by a guest today. Every day, we've had a great guest, and I think today it's going to be Hare Krishna who's joining us. So we're going to get some 2700 help. Normally after the first hour, the guest will join, so that'll be good to know. I don't know if there's any other guests lined up. You'll have to wait and see for that one. Back to the game. So Magnus playing quite quickly here. Danny as well. Is this something, position he may have looked at before?
I suppose so. I mean, I feel a bit prejudiced here because I'm used to playing this kind of position with black, and I feel that Artemiev shouldn't have any difficulties here. The fact that there's been this exchange on f3 sort of leaves these pawns, I would say, a bit inflexible, because you mentioned earlier this e4 break. Well, I mean, obviously not in this position anyway, but in any case, it kind of leaves these f pawns in a pretty bad state. The f4 square is weaker. Those pawns don't look great. So I don't think Carlsen can use that break. But if he plays f4, then there is even potential for black to play f5 and then bring the knight back into e4, and that feels okay. And even later on in the game, that pawn, you never know, could be a little bit vulnerable. I mean, that's quite a nice square for the queen. So I don't know. I feel like Artemiev is already doing absolutely fine here, because I'm not sure. I think you should just tuck the king away to b8. I'm not exactly sure what Carlsen is doing in terms of pawn breaks here. That would worry me about White's position.
I think the normal plan here. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think this is still very normal stuff, which Magnus is doing. I think, as you say, Danny, it's not supposed to give White any advantage, this line. Black is supposed to be equal. That's doesn't always bother Magnus too much if he's happy with a position and he gets his kind of position. But I think the main plan I've seen White try to do here is actually probe a little bit on the queen side. So, maybe you can go a4, a5, knight a4, rook c1. That's the kind of thing I may well be looking at. I've seen some games where White's drummed up a little bit of play by doing that. I mean, it's not going to be checkmate, but you might cause enough nuisance for black to at least get some initiative by a plan like that, possibly. I mean, that's maybe with queen b3. I'm just thinking, why did he put the queen on b3? Because unless he's going to try something like this, I don't see the point of that last move, really.
Yeah. I see what you mean. After a4, the move I want to play is a5 and control b4. But of course, the knight on b6 is on. So yeah, that makes a4, a5 possible. I'm not quite sure why Artemiev is having a big think here. He hasn't frozen again, has he?
I don't think so. His camera's still working. Maybe he is just worried, Danny, that if he puts the king in the same line, king b8. Let's say we go a4.
Let's have a look at a4. Yeah,
let's have a look, because you got this plan. If White's knight on c3 moves 2 square forwards, it suddenly becomes very dangerous. I think Black will be able to defend this, obviously, but he might have to misplace his pieces a little bit to do so.
Well, let me put the knight back here.
Okay, sure.
e5 anyway.
I think we go a5, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying again that I can't do that, obviously, because of the pin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay, I'll put the knight on d6.
Yeah, and this is where I've got to decide if I go a6 and try to hit try to say, okay, you've got a weakness on c6 if you move the b pawn, or if I say, right, actually, I'm just going to go knight a4. So these two options, I mean, knight a4 first looks pretty logical to me, actually. Put the rook on c1 and, you know, suddenly you can see it's a little bit of something here, right? Because if you go king a8, I've got knight b6 ideas always that you have to watch out for. Again, maybe not immediately, but these things are hovering there. And I've got a little bit of pressure on the queen side here.
Yeah, it's by the way, Simon, it's on the board.
It's on the board, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny. You know, my first glances, it shouldn't be difficult for black, but that it is worrisome actually. And well, Magnus has banged out these moves. He's got more time than he started with. Artemiev, it's following the same pattern as yesterday. He's already down to 9 minutes. Now, I think this is a big problem for him. You know, this is where Magnus is in his element. Magnus looks like he needs waking up a bit. Did he have a tough Saturday night?
Well, I mean, he looked a bit like this yesterday, didn't he, Magnus?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always interesting to see people's thinking poses, and you know, if anyone gets a chance to go to a live tournament where you have 100 or 200 people playing at once, obviously COVID, you know, being a bit tricky to do that, but hopefully things will get back to normal. I find it really interesting seeing the different body language that different players, you know, express when they're thinking. I'm more of a like try to shut out the world kind of person like this, you know. But then you have Peter Svidler, who was our guest yesterday, who walks around constantly, and he's looking, you know, he's chatting to people as well, and he sort of can multitask in some ways. I don't know what your preferred treatment is, Danny.
Yeah,
when you're...
I'm more of a shut out the world kind of person. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but Peter's funny. I mean, he's got so much energy. He's just, you know, makes a move, walks up, gets up from the board instantly, you know, walks across the stage. I remember, I mean, Vichy has changed completely, but in his younger years, Vichy was exactly the same. He couldn't sit still, and well, he couldn't sit at all. And I remember I was playing a tournament with him, and in the tournament hall, basically the tournament hall wasn't that big. And I was trying to concentrate, and he was constantly moving in front of me in my eye line. He was driving me nuts.
Yeah, I find that incredibly annoying, and this does happen. You know, if you're trying to concentrate and you're one of those people who needs that, you can't have distractions, and there is someone just doing this all the time. I mean,
making me dizzy.
The other thing that Gelfand does a lot, and he doesn't. They don't do these things on purpose, especially not Gelfand. But he gets the pawn, and he, when he's thinking, he twists the pawn like this, all the time, isn't it? And it's like,
he does. Hang on, I've got a knight here. He does.
You got a knight, right? Yeah.
I've actually got a proper chess set.
Oh wow! Oh, nice one. What proper chess set? What are those things like?
Look at that. Can you see?
Wow! Didn't think anyone had proper chess sets anymore. Oh, it's all online.
Yeah, I know. But it's when he does it with the knight. He sort of revolves it like that. I can't do it. He sort of spins the knight.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's
right.
I'm not so dexterous, but that's the trick. And again, if you start latching onto that, if it starts to get to you, then that's not good. Yeah,
it's not. More. By the way, more moves on the board. It's kind of got a bit interesting, Danny. I mean, like Queen E6 was an interesting solution.
I mean, the way that I was doing it, falling back with the knight, that looked completely wrong. And Artemiev's move looks like a good option to actually put the knight on c4. But Magnus plows on and knight a4, so he's induced a little bit of a weakness here. C6 has been undermined. Seems to me that Magnus is incredibly well prepared. This looks like something that he's looked at beforehand. It's my impression.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, there's a little bit of a positional danger for black here because, okay, you can't play it straight away. I've just realised, but I wanted to play rook c1, right? And if your knight on c4 can't stay on that square, it looks a little bit fragile on c4. And if you have to move the knight away, then suddenly c6 looks quite weak. And if you play b5 to try and keep it there, then obviously c5 is a big square. So it's
so what? But maybe we can prep it with king a2 to avoid the fork and go rook c1, and it's a very natural plan, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And maybe you can even take the knight straight away. I don't know how stupid that is, and play queen b4. I suppose queen f5 check might win a pawn or something. So possibly,
or maybe the knight swings back. I don't know. It feels like he'd want to keep the bishop, doesn't it? Really,
it does. Yeah, I think Black's still very solid here, Danny. Don't you? I mean, Magnus seems to know what he's doing, but Black is still nothing to worry about quite yet.
Don't know. I'd be feeling nervous that pawn is sitting on a6. Actually, I've got to say.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm kind of a supporter of Black's position, but I'm not sure I'd want to wind up with what we've got here. Actually, doesn't don't. If you gave me a choice now, I would take white every time.
Take white, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just think it's a nice, isn't it?
I mean, knight c5 is nearly just winning a pawn as well. Actually, funny, but obviously your knight's on pre wherever the queen moves. But maybe like you say, just king to somewhere. I guess a2.
I don't know, a2 or a1. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. No, I don't know if there's probably is a big difference, but I don't know what that difference is.
But tucking it out of the way to one of these squares, and then just very natural.
And rook c1.
Playing the rook to c1. And what I mentioned earlier, b5 and it's kind of ugly, but if it's the piece that is bothering me in Black's position is that knight on h5. If that knight could come around to d7, and then we could go b5, and suddenly, the knight wouldn't be able to come into c5. It would have to fall back, and then this knight could come into b6, something like that. That could be interesting. So I would want to bring that knight back to somewhere decent very, very quickly, either knight f6 or knight g7 to e8.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Something like that.
I don't know if it's ever an issue, but maybe if that knight goes away, e4 is a move. I don't know if it is. Probably not. I mean, I don't want to play it now because of knight f4, but because the knight on c4 is a bit loose, maybe. I don't like pushing that pawn because it just seems like I weaken too many squares, like the f4 square. But maybe at the right time, it's something to watch out for.
Interesting that Magnus is having a think here. That because he's gone king a1. Yeah,
it's gone king a1. Makes sense.
All right. So all right, let me flick this knight.
Sure. Okay, so we should definitely play rook c1 here.
Yeah. No.
And you can't go knight d2. Just checking the tactics. There's actually a very nice plan there of even you don't have to go queen b1. You can go queen b4 and knight takes b6.
Yeah,
which is again showing the power of the a6 pawn that you pointed out, Danny, and this is going to lead to disaster. So
so does Black have something to? I mean, I really don't want to put the knight back. That's the thing.
No.
Because I mean, this is already
knight b6 might be winning, right?
Could be already.
Oh, okay. It's scary.
But it's pretty close to winning, isn't it?
Knight d7. Do I hang on or do I not? I don't know.
Knight d7.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe the queen doesn't have a good move.
No,
that's the problem. That's interesting, actually. Okay, so I've got
very close to being completely crushing there.
So I've got to take and then drop the queen back here.
Yeah, and this is just unclear, I'd say, because
Black's a pretty weak pawn on d5. Yeah, I mean the issue, of course, is that White can't bring the rook in. But yeah, I mean it's getting close, isn't it? So rook c1.
Well, this is where Black has to really make that decision. So he's gone king a8. So maybe now the idea, if knight comes back, you know, that sacrifice on b6 is not going to probably work now. I say probably as I'm just saying, double checking. But I mean, b5 I think looks very ugly for black.
Yeah,
doesn't it? This
let
b5.
me just point out that if white takes this,
you know, rook takes is certainly an option here.
Well, rook takes is more of an option. Yeah, I was going to say that bishop takes. You know, white has to watch out for this move b5 at some moment. So okay, well let me try knight f6, and so this one is probably
you can move. Yeah, probably as it's
all a bit.
Black's not threatening anything at the moment, is he? That's the weird thing. Black is actually not. Oh, queen takes. Okay, so if I go rook c1, let's just check this. Rook on hc1, because I want to maybe play.
Actually, do you know what? This is now a threat.
Yeah.
Queen takes, rook c8 mate.
Right.
So even this is quite dodgy, but all right. Artemyev's played rook here, so now I think that probably is
covering.
Good for black. But yeah, your idea of an exchange sack, it definitely comes into play. Because those light squares are so weak.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe I could get another pawn on f7, but it kind of depends with d5. If I can go d5 and open up the light squares, this might not be good enough. I mean, it still looks even here a little bit scary. I want to play d5, try to get my bishop, but I don't really believe this, I have to say, for white. Not quite.
Well, I tell you what, it's
maybe
knight is terrible though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Magnus can prepare it somehow.
Yeah.
Rook c, maybe just rook c2.
Rook c2, queen b4 is another way, but rook c2 trying to get the last one in makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of pressure, isn't there, around black's king here? I mean, it's not totally safe here, the black king, for sure.
No. Again, it just feels like one of those positions where, given the choice, you'd take white. It just looks like all the fun is with white at the moment.
Yeah.
But all right, rooks. I mean, if we play rook c2, and I'll play the other rook over. Let's have a look.
Okay.
And how serious is this?
I mean, does he start trying to grab the pawn on h3?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Instead of moving backwards, just
at
least that exchange will take a few pieces off the board.
I mean, b5 is still hanging, isn't it? Still hanging. So I don't know if rook c2 and rook c1 maybe help that one. Actually.
No, maybe didn't.
Maybe
Magnus has played the knight back to c3.
Okay, interesting. So he's given up on ideas of sacrificing that knight, and he's very quick move from Vladislav there. I would not have thought of knight c3. That is a move I would not have seen or played.
Well, no, I mean, likewise, I'd probably just keep hammering, but on the knight somehow. But maybe his idea is he's just going to exchange it off, and he's just brought the knight back to, a decent square for the exchange.
Yeah.
So now exchange, and let me see, where do we want the queen? A3.
Yeah,
let's play
like
here. That. And if he can play for d5 at some moment, bringing the rooks across.
Thank you for buying my course, Lauren, as well. Cheers, it's very kind.
So Magnus, now his time has dropped to 8.5 minutes, and Artemyev 4:48.
Can he also play like knight? I mean, is his knight going to go anywhere? Like knight e2, so we finally threaten to take the knight without actually taking it.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if e2 is the right square. I'm trying to work out where, but it looks okay there. And there's a bit more of an argument, I feel, for b5 now. I mean, b5 is very committal, but now that the white knight can't easily get to c5, it's certainly more of an option, I think. I mean, maybe you go queen b4 and b3, and still the position favors white because of the c file, but maybe there's more of an argument for b5 in that position.
Yeah, but I mean, I was thinking here just playing knight a5 actually.
Right. Okay. Now let's say queen a4 probably.
Okay, because now b4, the knight will come back to c4 anyway.
Okay. I could have gone to a2 then. Would have been interesting.
Oh. Right. Well, now that okay, so
yeah.
now that starts to become a threat again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at c5. That's probably
okay.
Might just weaken black's position horribly. Yeah. Okay. I think I'll pass on that one. not so good. Let me just show why. Actually, I mean, the thing is now everything starts to open up a bit, and in this position, well, his b4 might actually be a move, but even if it isn't, the knight reaches d4, and it just looks disgusting for black. Actually, doesn't look good at all. I suppose that's the nice thing about white's position, that the natural break seems to open things up in white's favor. So maybe white has time. I mean, okay, Magnus has actually gone rook c2 here.
Okay. And the knight's come back, and he played this h4 move as well, which I find quite...
sorry, rook c8, h4 first.
Yeah.
Knight back, and now rook c2. It's all very subtle stuff, isn't it?
It is very subtle. Briefly thought his idea was to bring the bishop to h3, but I don't think it's a very good square. It's only kind of a cheapo threat there. I think it's much better in the center of the board attacking the knight, so that can't be the idea, I'm guessing. Maybe he's just going to try to get rid of this knight on c4 and pressurize just on the one open file he has, the c file, and he's thinking this is still going to give him a bit of pressure in the position. So again, some plan here, like we discussed with, we can go rook c1 now, because that's the other point of playing h4. The pawn is not on pre, and after you play that move, then you can do something like knight e2 or somewhere, and the knight on c4. If it has to move, then we've got the c file to attack on. So something like that, I would assume, is what Magnus is trying to achieve.
Yeah. Okay. Let's I'm going to play h5.
Okay. So let's sure.
So rook c1.
I think I'm going to go for this one. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look at something kind of concrete. So what about queen h3?
Yeah.
I'm just going to come in and see if I can take a pawn, basically.
Okay. And now
I'm going to give this one.
Yeah. Now I want to take that knight.
Yep. And it takes, and then I'll take on f3.
And here I'm hoping, right, c file action somewhere. Like, I mean, knight b5 is either working or not, right? It's like
committal, very committal.
It's very committal, but if it works well. Yeah, probably.
I mean, let's have a look. So takes
just
here.
Yeah, and because the pawn on a6 is so strong, it could just be winning.
Yeah, I think it is actually. Yeah, that's kind of serious.
Yeah,
that's very, very interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, that's he's gone back to d6. He obviously didn't want to get involved in any of that stuff.
No.
It does look pretty solid, actually. I quite like the knight there. He's managed to protect c6.
And maybe your c5 move is not so crazy, right?
Maybe not here. I think, but really, your heart is in your mouth when you play c5.
Yeah,
because it just blows things open, and potentially open diagonal. Just looks reasonably solid. Are you there? There you go. C5.
Oh, he's played it straight away. Okay. And well, the thing is, c5, it's a very committal move, and I like the way Vladislav played that, because in the match situation, of course, he's got to play with confidence today, and he didn't really diver or daver there. He just played it, bang. And if it does work, black can suddenly get the advantage, right? It's one of those moves that if it works really well. So I like, does it work?
Okay,
well,
question. Let me try knight b5.
Sure. So I
takes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing c4 doesn't work, so
yeah, I'm assuming it doesn't. I mean, I'll take the
yeah.
check and
Okay,
then.
so yeah, we get rid of that knight. The knight's
All
too
right.
strong.
So I've got the knight. I've got the bishop on a nice square.
Okay.
And there's obviously a pin here. This is on the board, by the way.
It's on the board. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if that pawn pushes, then I'll step up, and I don't know what's black up to next.
B3 is a really strong idea as well, I think.
Just opening things up, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe black, instead of going c4, should try something like knight. I know knight e8 doesn't. I want to bring that knight to a better square, and d6 looks natural, but I'm worried that you have.
Well, I mean, one thing is, if I'm really worried,
oh, you just take,
I can whip it off.
And actually, there's no good way to capture that one. So that knight e8 is just a blunder here because bishop takes knight is good.
Yeah.
So okay, so you can't do that. Queen d6 seems logical, trying to cover c5 a little bit more, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's looks reasonable. But there's queen a3, or the pressure mounting. King b8. Yeah, Artemiev a bit worried about his king. But look at the clock times. He's under 2 minutes. Magnus has 6 minutes. So it's in one of those situations where you're thinking this is Magnus is in his element again, basically.
Yeah.
But how does white make progress? You don't want to. I don't think you want to take immediately, because that will. Let me just, for the sake of argument, let me just show this. If there's some huge exchange here, then I would think, I mean, this endgame shouldn't present black with any difficulties. In fact, the opposite. This could even be better for black, because that a pawn could be a bit loose. The center is quite nice. So white definitely wants to keep the tension. King b1 played, and queen e7. So that means that, well, I was going to say you can potentially take here, but you can't actually. Let me just show that. Takes. Okay, let me make a nothing move. I don't know, b3. Takes here at rook c8. So there is still major pinning going on. I suppose you might be able to play c4 now, actually, if you want to. I'm not sure black does want to.
I guess I still got the idea of b3 at the right moment. Maybe after an exchange of queens and b3.
Yeah.
So
Magnus has gone rook c3. So just holding the tension. Yeah, I agree. If here, then that looks pretty uncomfortable.
I really like black's next move. We're trying to find ways that the black knight could get into the game, and it wasn't doing a great deal on f6 except defending d5. Now, I don't know if this is a good move, but I like the idea of either bringing that knight to e7, maybe to c6, or to f5, right? h6 to f5. And
I think he is threatening to take here now. So let me just show this. So
the queen is defended as well, right?
Exactly. So after this, here takes lots of exchanges, and suddenly that pawn structure is looking very, very wonderful for black and absolutely ugly for white. So Magnus has taken on c5.
You know what? I'm starting to quite like black's position. I have to be honest. I don't like white's bishop. I think the white bishop, especially the more pieces that get exchanged, and we're having multiple exchanges here. Let's see how this goes. And I think he probably can't go for that ending, Danny, as you pointed out, because black is just better. He has to keep the queens on. Okay, so the one problem black has is his king safety.
Now that is a big problem.
It's a big problem,
but it's a very big problem.
Yeah, it's there's certain problems which are big, certain which are small. But that as you say, the pawn on a6 is great, right? So
yeah, okay, but Artemiev has some hope in that those end games with that pawn basically on the wrong color square and potentially vulnerable, and these pawns vulnerable. that's something to head for if the queens are exchanged. But yeah, the queens are on the board, and with so little time, difficult. Objectively, what do you think? Black is okay?
I think objectively, I think black should be okay here, because I think, as we both sort of mentioned, if the queens ever come off, maybe black suddenly is better, and that's, the bishop is not that great on b5. I mean, you might be able to hit your opponent's pawns, but the knight has more long-term potential. So I think black should be okay here, and I think if anything, positionally, black is sort of better with the weak pawns that you mentioned a long time ago, whites, right? I mean, these pawns could suddenly be a target later on. So I still think I actually maybe prefer black here slightly, even though the king is weak. But the times,
Do you know what? I think he's got a plan of bringing the king just out of trouble. Oh, that's a nice move.
Aha, he's keeping the pressure on, yeah.
Yeah, because if that king, okay, f6 shuts the queen out. If that king can sort of come into the middle, then of course he won't have to worry about the mates. I mean, still a little bit exposed, but I kind of like that maneuver, actually.
Yeah, and the knight can now start centralizing as well, knight e7. I'm impressed the way Vladislav's done this. As soon as he started playing quicker, he was in a bit of a tough position, as he did have pressure against his king structure. And Magnus was doing his Magnus stuff, maneuvering about. And had he sat there, I think that pressure would have mounted and mounted. But he played c5. He managed to bust out. He's picked up the pace a little bit. And I think this is a promising start for him, actually. Still, with the time situation, difficult. But I think the position is fine for black at the moment, at least.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about some wacky stuff here. I'm wondering about bishop e8 and putting the bishop on f7.
Oh wow! Okay.
To try
okay. Interesting.
Or alternative, less wacky, put the bishop here.
Yep.
And then, well, I think e4 looks a bit dodgy to me, but maybe just keep the pressure on.
Right. Okay.
Bishop b3. And to tie black down to defending this pawn.
This is the kind of position where, as black, I'd love to get the queens off. So I'd love to play queen e5 or something like this if I can. And those endings, I think, are okay. By the way, I think what Magnus has done is actually very clever, Danny, because in the endings, his h-pawn, the white h-pawn is a straggler on its own. So Magnus plays this move. Now, if that pawn is taken, he opens up some lines for his pieces. I'm not exactly sure which way he will try to come in, but maybe the queen can come via d3 or via h4. So Artemev's kept it very solid, but the exchange of h-pawns in this situation helps white. He gets rid of one of his weaknesses, and he's also found another way his queen can come into the position.
That's really clever. I just wonder whether, whether a computer would say, actually, you can take that. Yeah. It looks incredibly risky.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah.
But it might be a useful pawn. But in any case, this has happened, and now king c7. So the king is trotting out. But that queen looks menacing.
If the queen can get around the back, it's scary.
Very scary. I have a funny feeling this is going to end in a perpetual check.
I would not be. Yeah, I think
with the queen coming down here, actually,
very likely. That's that queen b4, a nice move, right? I mean, if you take on f6, I guess it's going to be a draw, right?
Okay, let's have a quick look. Oh, he's gone queen e8. Oh, be careful. Be careful.
But
now,
if
the king can escape, okay, let's have a look.
So I can come to a2, right?
Yeah, and then to b3. What happens now?
No more checks.
Wow. Okay, that is quite serious. And Artemiev under a minute now. Really serious.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the check doesn't work, it doesn't seem to work. There's a big idea. There's actually a checkmate threat. White is threatening checkmate in 2 with queen d7 and queen b7 checkmate. And it's the kind of thing where, if you have to move the queen back to d6, you're going to start getting uncomfortable, I feel.
Okay, I'm starting to look at king d6.
Wow, okay.
Can we take a trip? He's played it.
He's played king d6.
It looks fantastically dodgy.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, I saw you were going for the F pawn. Even something like F4 is not ridiculous. Try to keep it trapped.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the dilemma here. Do you keep checking, or do you try and keep the king trapped in?
I mean, there could just be something very strong here. That king looks so weak. Okay, he's gone for the checks. Is there something just very nasty here for? I mean, okay, if you go to E5, hang on a minute, that king looks toast to me. It just looks like it can't survive. I mean, there must be some way to bishop D3. You have
what's
bishop D3. Do you have any way to defend F4, mate? Yeah.
He's gone to E5, and I'm looking at the eval bar, and it's a whiteout.
It's a whiteout, right? Maybe there's something better. Okay,
G5.
Oof. Well, now this Queen C7 is very close. Okay, he's gone Bishop D3. Queen C7, Queen D6. That doesn't help.
Yeah, but then Queen C3 check. Oh no, the king goes back to E6.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just have a think here. So G5, what's the move? It does look so dubious. He's gone F5 instead, and he's just taken the pawn.
Okay.
So basically, he's just saying, okay, you can check here. My king's going to come to B3. It's safe. And actually, there's just no issue.
Magnus is on his way to winning, I think. Here, definitely. And I think he played again. I mean, I think Black was probably okay, but it's the king's safety and that problem we're getting all the time, Danny, with Vladislav. Even though he seemed like he was playing well, you can't find the best moves when you've only got 30 seconds left. No matter if you're the best blitz player in the world, it's impossible. And that seems to be the case, Danny, that's coming time and time again. And this moving the king up the board from Black.
Oh, he's going to play Queen C3.
Oh, Queen C3. Is that a killer? What's he? Is he a pawn up in the end? He's a pawn up now anyway. So yeah, Queen C3 is very simple win. Yeah.
Or is he going to turn the screw somehow or play A7? I don't know. He's having a think.
Yeah, I mean it's game over now. That turned reasonably quickly.
Oh,
reasonably quickly.
You're not kidding. Just at the moment, classic commentator's curse. Just at the moment when we think, Artemiev seems to be finding his feet. He's all right.
Yeah.
And suddenly, H5, Queen H4, absolutely brilliant. I think Artemiev overlooked Queen E8.
Yeah. Maybe Queen B4 is a little bit premature, if anything. But you're right. Maybe the position just seemed a lot more trickier than I thought.
Yeah. We'll go back in a second and look at it. That was obviously the critical thing. But Carlsen, if he plays Queen here, let's just have a very quick look at this, because the knight can come back and shuts out the pieces just for a moment. How easy is this or not? Or do you just go, he's played A7, that's interesting. He wants something a bit quicker, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just calculated that this is even smoother, right?
The king's, any more checks, the king actually hides here. Knight C6. I assume Queen B6 is the move. Queen B6 should be just a shutout, I think.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Magnus.
Yeah,
Queen B6, King G5. Now, what's the move?
Well, Bishop C2 might. Yeah, you can't defend your knight and the pawn.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
nice, very nice. I think we're going to see. Yeah,
1-0. He's lost.
Wow.
Well done, Magnus. I mean, by the way, Danny, we got a little bit of help there. It does seem that Queen B4 was the mistake, just to show where the game really did tip in Magnus's favour. I mean, well played, Magnus, for keeping the pressure up and using the queen fantastically well to get around the back. And Queen H4 taken on G6, Queen H8. Very clever idea here. And it looks like the white king should be weak, but in actual fact, after Queen B4, it wasn't that weak. And the move that should be played, well, Queen B4 was wrong. In actual fact, after Queen E8, you have to move the queen back to D6 and just try to hold that position. But here, in actual fact, D4 is a very good move, trying to free up a better line for the queen to check on, more squares. If there's a capture on D4, the queen has D1, D5, more free lines against the white king to try to get a perpetual on, I think.
Is that the engine move?
I think d4 is the engine move today, as our great producer is telling us. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a little think. I suppose the most direct move for white here would be queen a8.
Yeah, and funnily enough, knight c8 seems to hold everything together here.
Knight c8.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
it's
mad.
Allowing queen b7 check,
Yeah.
it does seem suicidal. And when you've got 30 seconds left, as Vladislav had, finding this, allowing a queen b7 is virtually impossible, I feel. But this is holding the balance, this variation. So,
Golly.
yeah.
It's, well, yeah, maybe. It's like, it's interesting, the king kind of dances around that knight, and actually the pieces sort of complement each other. But I wonder what's black's threat here, actually.
I don't know if it's taking the pawn. Probably. I think all black wants to do is give himself opportunities to check, right?
Yeah.
With the queen in the position, and the way he played it seems so natural. Queen b4, but it was one of those moves which I call it like an artificial move. Like a lot of players, they see a move, but they don't really back it up with calculation, and you've got to do that. You think you have a lot of checks. But you've got to back that up with calculation. And as soon as Artyomov played this queen b4, he had no perpetual, and it allowed Magnus to improve his position at least there. So
okay, I'm sorry, I'm staring at this position still, Simon. Yeah. I'm just thinking. Okay, I want to probe a little bit. So queen e4.
Danny, to be honest, I expect this is still game on. I mean, it's certainly not over. I mean, okay, yeah, I probably have to take, and it does look like white visually should be better here. But if I go g5, do you have any threats?
It's really interesting. So maybe basically the weaknesses are covered, and maybe white just doesn't have anything here.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, also I can go knight e7 in that last position and try to exchange threaten an exchange of queens. My threat is queen d1, queen d5, and that should be obviously fine there. If I can get the queens off as black, I'm okay. If you check me, the knight comes back. This might be all right. Queen d5 in a lot of positions here. Put the queen in the center of the board. Should just about be okay, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, lots of pawns have been exchanged. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you've got nothing on the clock, and you see this, but you suddenly see the queen coming in, then you kind of go panic.
Yeah.
This looks absolutely terrifying.
It does.
And to make a move like d4, which suddenly kind of randomizes the position, because it's another piece that sort of can be captured. You've got to calculate queen a8. Very hard to play that move. And queen b4 feels much more natural.
It does, yeah.
Because you hit the bishop, you threaten what looks like a kind of tasty check. But queen e8.
I think the thing with this queen b4 is you kind of force white to play a good move, and you've just made your situation worse. It reminds me of something Anish, I think, mentioned when he came on the commentary. Anish mentioned that one of the big mistakes he makes, and there's not many, is that in a difficult situation which black was in, he delays the sort of decision. He plays a move, and he's still got the same problem. Like after queen b4, queen e8, you've still got these major problems, and actually they've just become worse. You just delayed an important decision, and queen e8 is kind of natural, right? You defend the bishop, you bring the queen in, and white's just helped his position quite a lot there.
I suspect that he just assumed that the checks would start and he'd be able to force a draw, and just didn't calculate it through. But yeah, let me just point this one out, that Magnus actually played queen in a couple of moves time he actually played king c2. I mean, both are possible in this position. Actually, you can play the king to b3, but actually Magnus, maybe this one isn't so good because this one is even this is possible actually, but no, king a2 has to be the move.
Yeah,
and the king actually finds a safe spot on b3, and then it's white's turn at the other end of the board.
Black's queen is terrible here as well.
Yeah.
I mean, black's queen can't give him the game.
But this is brilliant. This is the brilliant move, H5, because we're going. Hang clever. On, Black is stabilizing here.
Yeah,
and H5 suddenly blows it open.
Definitely, really nice move, and it's not just to liquidate the pawns; it's to find another way for the white queen to come in.
Yeah.
We've been, and again, the computer, and we're only finding this out now after the game. Just the key moments, our producers gives us a bit. We don't use a computer when we're analysing. You got the analysis bar there where you can see it fluctuate, but I don't think there's any point us just repeating what anyone can do at home.
Can it be taken?
I think it can be taken, but funnily enough, this is actually. The computer prefers not taking on H5, apparently, which I find a bit strange because I'd have thought, yeah, take that pawn if you can, get rid of that pawn. And I'm not entirely sure what white plays after pawn takes H5. To be honest,
maybe Queen H4 again. Actually,
maybe Queen H4 again.
I think that's probably just to snap it back straight away.
I was thinking you could now play Queen B4 or C5, but it's Queen G3 check. I'm not Queen B4, but Queen C5.
Okay.
Maybe just to annoy, but Queen B3 is just winning. So yeah, Queen H4 again. So yeah, H5 was a star move there. Definitely a star move from.
But what did the computer? What's?
I don't know what the assessment is or anything. I have no idea what.
Yeah, but H5,
is.
Fantastic move. That's,
yeah.
Again, it's one of those positions where Magnus finds a move to upset his opponent, to destabilize. And he's so good at that. He found these moves so quickly. And just heaped the pressure on Artemiev, who was, under a minute roughly at this moment. Absolutely brilliant from Magnus.
Definitely. So, Danny, I think we're going to take a short 45-second, so it is really short, break. And we're also going to bring our guest on then to help us out. I'm not sure if we're going to have a longer break before the next game, which is probably going to start in 8 minutes. We'll find that out soon, but let's just bring the commercial break on now anyway.
Freedom! So fresh, so new. Freedom! It's all for you. All for you. Freedom! Keep your ear to the ground. Talking about freedom! It's the best show in town. Best show in town. Freedom!
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things. Breathe better. Live better.
We're back, and Magnus has won the first game. And just to remind everyone actually what that means for the tournament standings, he's very, very close to being champion, and it's looking like mission impossible in some ways for Vladislav Artemiev, because he's got to now get 2.5 out of the next 3 games, which is really tough against tough against Magnus, because let's remember, if it's 2-2 today, Magnus won yesterday's leg, and that means that he'll be the champion. So he's got to get 2.5. If Magnus wins the next game or any game from now on in, it's match over. So yeah, it's pretty critical. But it's great, as always, to be joined by one of our friends, very strong chess player, Harry Krishna. So hello, Harry. How are you doing today?
Hi, Danny. Hi, Simon. Hi, viewers. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? I see Magnus already won the first game, and it doesn't seem promising for Vladislav with losing yesterday's set and starting with a loss.
Harry, what did you do? I'm assuming you saw the whole game. I mean, what's your general impression of that?
Well, this particular variation, I did try myself against. I lost pretty easily against Boris Gelfand in 2014. Something similar I played, and it seems like Black is doing fine and Black is all right. But then all of a sudden, white starts exactly like a4, a5, a6, and it's quite unpleasant to find the best moves from the black side. And especially in a rapid game, it's very difficult unless you are quite familiar with these setups. Which, for example, for Michael Adams, this will be pretty easy. He knows where to place the pieces and how to maneuver. And I believe that Vladislav is not exactly playing this every game of his. So that makes it quite hard for him to understand the setups.
I suppose this decision to play bishop g4 is, fundamental to the position. I mean, black does have other ways to play. Obviously you can play with g6 and just bishop d7 and then wait with the king. What do you think of bishop g4 and taking on f3?
Well, actually, I was taught, or I was told that white plays h3 before moving the bishop to d3, and the reason being bishop g4. I suppose bishop takes f3. But however, in this game, it appears that maybe it's not such a great idea to go bishop g4 and take on f3. But bishop g4 is what I would also play. It's so much principle when you can go there and double the pawns.
But by the way, sorry to jump in there, guys. Just thought you might want to know that the next game has started already. So we expected it to start a bit later, but they've kicked off with a situation where Vladislav, he has 2 whites left, but he needs to get at least a draw, and then he needs 2 out of 2. But, well, you would have thought he must try to get a win on the board soon. So
g3 on the second move from Artemyev, and the standard recipe against g3 is d5. Magnus makes the theoretical move, and there is a reason, if you're going to play the closed Sicilian, why you play knight c3 first and only then g3, because the knight and the pawn cover d5, and this is the problem with g3, that black can break straight away. And
I guess it's the same with if you go to f4, to try and get the Grand Prix kind of thing. D5 is also an issue then, right?
Exactly. But there's a specific tactical reason why this is always slightly frowned upon, because in this position you have queen e6 check, and it displaces the king, because queen e2 is actually not a very attractive move, because already there's this. So basically in this position, instead of queen e2, the king has to go to f1. And
I think this is all theory, Danny.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
Maybe not the main theory as one would expect, like Naidov or Taimanov or Sveshnikov and so on. But the point is, in rapid, this might be a good choice by Vladislav. Try to get something which maybe Magnus is not familiar with. It's hard to achieve that, but I can see that he did manage to get a position which Magnus is not familiar with, and I can say that king probably will take a small walk with king f1, king g1, and h3, king h2. Perhaps that's how king would reach safe place. And once he does that, then white will be ahead in development, because black moved his queen quite many times already.
Yeah, well, I've actually had this position as black on a couple of occasions.
Oh,
and I think I was very young,
okay.
and I think I played bishop h3 here.
All right.
And then my opponent played b4.
Is this Simon?
No, this is me.
No, I mean b4.
Oh, b4. Yeah. No, it wasn't Simon. I don't know who it was. But...
Well, I have to say that I do like playing wing gambits against the Sicilian. I think it's quite an underrated open in general. It's not.
Well, actually, I can say that after bishop h3, b4, I was so shocked with black that actually I lost very, very quickly in this position. Actually, this is not a bad move in this position, actually.
I don't think this is bad at all, since, I have seen many games of e4, c5, second move b4, and that's something which you would just say, okay, you don't have to analyze this. But when I started looking at for my course, then I realized, okay, I really have to give something nice.
Definitely. But the interesting thing about this, Harry, like you brought your course out first with b4, and I brought out this Grandmaster Gambits course after you brought yours up, so I was able to look at your analysis and then try to find something on top of that. So I actually recommend this b4 as a way to play. I mean, if you want an exciting game, it's not so stupid. I mean, I think it's better than the Mora Gambit, for example. Let's just say that. Which is.
I'm just going to say you set the bar low there, Simon.
Mora Gambit's not that bad. Come on. No, I think you're not worse after b4, and when you're trying to gambit, that's absolutely fine, I'd say. And
we can ask viewers if it is b4 or Mora Gambit. Yeah. So which is better?
Well, many more people play the Mora Gambit, but I'm just not sure why. B4 is actually much more positionally natured because you're trying to take over the center, right? So it's sort of it has. I think it should be more popular, personally.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm probably just going to take a very short 5-minute break. I'll let you guys chat on, and then Danny, we can swap in or something if that's okay for you.
Fine.
So
okay, moving back to the board. Yeah, Bishop H3. B4 is a pretty serious move, actually, because suddenly, Black has the problem of what to do with his bishop, and then, White's opening problems are completely solved. The rook came to E1, and I got blown away. So I did learn from that, and instead, the next time I encountered this, I just played knight C6. Interesting, after H3, Magnus just took on F3. I don't think you need to. You can just come to H5 there, but he's played in a very simple way.
I think if Black plays Bishop H5, in any case, at some point you have to take the knight. Otherwise, something G4, D4 can occur. Not exactly now, but it can be quite dangerous, or you can just even play D3, Bishop E3, and White will be ahead in development.
Yeah.
So that's why he took it. Yeah.
Very pragmatic from Magnus, and knight F6. 2 bishops. We've got to love the 2 bishops.
Yeah, I do like 2 bishops a lot. Yeah. Bishop pair is great. Bishop pair is often great, and especially when you need to win, you can keep your chances and you can keep going. Interestingly, with the pawn on E2, there is a similar structure, in the Reti structures where Black gives away his bishop. So I don't know if the pawn is worse or better on E2 or C2. So we will find out.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that variation, actually. You got in before me. Let me just show that. So we're making a comparison between these positions. And this variation is, let me see here. This is a very, very popular line at the moment. And then here, let's say castles, here, and this position, that's the one.
Yes.
So yes, we, instead of the pawn on E2, we have the pawn on C2. And this is, well, let's just say it's playable for Black.
Sure. No, I think there were many games which ended in a draw. Of course, White can keep on playing, it's not risk.
Okay, so when we compare the two, which one do you prefer from White's viewpoint?
I think with the pawn on E2, but with the pawn on E2, I would prefer than on C2.
And why is that?
I just feel that with the C file open, since the pawn on C5 is already there, so I could perhaps try to play A3, B4 or create some counter attack on the C5 pawn. And here I believe, like, if King G2, he has this knight D4. I think that's one of the key points. I mean, I don't want to give the bishop, right?
Right. So in other words, maybe the king will have to come to h2.
Yeah, and I was thinking, can I play c3 king g2, but then black has rook to d8, attacking the pawn on d3. So a4 is nice. A4 is nice because stopping b5 ideas. And
yeah, this is okay. So
yeah, so
some potential there. So I suppose we move the rook out to one of these squares.
Yeah, I think rook d8 could be nice to stop c3. And king g2, you have knight d4.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it's all a lot of strategy involved right now. So obviously, white would like to get c3, king g2, and have queen c2, rook d1. You know, some kind of King's Indian structure. Of course, with the bishop, it looks much more nicer. But that's not going to be so easy in this case.
Yeah, so the issue is basically the control of d4 that black has here.
Yeah.
And this very pesky knight coming into d4. And yeah, white needs to stop that with c3, but that weakens the d3 pawn. So it's hard to arrange. Maybe, I was going to say, maybe bishop e3 with, getting some kind of opposite color bishop position. Is that?
Yeah. Bishop e3 also, black can perhaps think about knight d5. Of course, it's not the end of the road, because you can just simply play bishop to d2. In fact, having the knight on d5 is not so great for black, since white can go c3 at some point, since there is no attack on the d3 pawn.
Okay, so it is Vladislav Artemiev to play. I think
I feel king g1, Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, king g1, king h2, then bring the rook to e1. And that there is another idea, of course, to go a5. When black takes on d3, you have the option of going a6, since knight on c6 is hanging.
Right, but first of all, we clear the king out of the way.
Yeah, I would certainly think that's better.
Well, I think for the first time, practically in the match, it seems that Artemiev is only about a minute down on the clock, and Magnus has burned at least a few minutes in the opening.
He has been thinking he's taking a lot of time in the opening, which is surprising. Usually Vladislav plays pretty, not like 20 moves in 1 minute, but he's known for his blitz skills, and he plays fast.
Okay, so let's try king g1. Now, what about Magnus? So rook d8?
Yeah, I think rook d8.
Okay, we'll go king h2. Now, strategy for black. We've talked a lot about what white wants to do. What does black want to do?
I think black would just stay knight d5, bishop f6 is one thing which comes to my mind. Also, black would never want to play e5. So that's one thing which black is not going to do, because after e5, that's actually a weakness later on in the game. Rook e1 and so on.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I suppose knight d5 is the obvious move. What about chucking the knight into d4? I mean, that's more provocative, because it's
you're actually helping me.
Yeah, I might be helping you.
So anyway, I want to have my bishop on g2. So
right.
And knight d4 actually helps. I would guess something like queen c7, rook d7, rook d8. But black would wait. Black will just wait a bit.
I don't know if we should throw in b6 to discourage a5.
Then I go c3.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. What do you think of the opening, the way it's gone here, just out of interest?
I think it went well for Vladislav. He has to bishop pair, and I mean this is good in a must-win situation. Actually, he needs to win 2 games, right? Or
he needs to get 2.5 out of the next 3.
Okay.
So he needs to certainly, to make it interesting, I feel, get a win in this game, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be very.
He's played c3 immediately. So that's kind of interesting before he's actually ducked the king out. So, okay, big question.
King e2.
And now king g2.
No, e2.
Oh, king e2.
What can I do?
Right.
Rook e1, king f1. His braveness is out of necessity, probably.
You can't go king g2 in that instead, and
let's have a look at this. I mean, this is
king g2, queen d3.
Like take everything and go maybe take on c6 and knight e5 or something.
Let's have a look.
Is that anything or not really?
Very, very forcing.
Yeah. Okay, rook d6. I don't want to give you.
Yeah, no, I just want to play bishop e3, I think, yeah.
Right. Knight d7,
Knight
then
d7.
you go back, yeah? Knight c4. No.
Yeah.
Just about enough squares.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
why
it's kind of
compensation?
He's gone, okay.
He's gone a5, but
yeah.
Okay, so but in this position you've got a6.
No, rook
this is
f3.
on freeze. Apologies, yeah.
So we need one move. King e2 exactly, and rook d7.
Okay, a6.
Now it makes sense, of course. Knight d5 probably.
Well, this is compensation.
No, that's clear. No,
Yeah.
White has definitely compensation.
Yeah. So Magnus is having a think here. I mean, it's not a very attractive move to make a6.
No, I don't think he will play a6.
It's got a very interesting opening strategy from Vladislav, right? To play this offbeat line, but obviously he knows what he wants from the middle game. And his bishop does look fantastic, right? The light square bishop. But it's getting very concrete now after a5. So,
I think the critical line should be queen takes d3.
Okay, let's have a closer look at this.
Yeah.
So takes, and okay, king e2 looks like the obvious move.
King e2 or bishop c6, 2 moves possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to keep that bishop.
Okay, king e2.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
We don't.
Magnus has taken it. Yeah.
Okay, he's gone for it.
Right, so we've got this position now. The choice. Yeah, king e2.
King e2 looks natural, right?
Right, so there we go. All as advertised, and it's got to be a6.
Yeah, of course, you have to play a6. I mean, if you give me a chance, knight d5, and what's the point of sacrificing this pawn? So it has to be a6. Yeah, and now I believe knight d5 should be.
Shut out this bishop at any rate.
We can maybe show this small fork idea if you want to. Rook c8, just instead of knight d5.
Okay.
Rook c8 defending the knight, a takes b7, rook takes b7. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have rook a6. I forgot.
Oh, even okay. That was quite lucky. Okay, but in any case, of course, it's logical to shut
knight d5. Yeah.
Okay, now how serious is this? So, I mean, my first thought here was to play rook a6, but I suppose I'm looking for a follow up there. After rook a6, rook c8 seems to hold. But okay, let's put that one back and have a think first.
Yeah, I mean, you've got simply rook d1 as well, either after rook a6 or here.
Yeah.
Just to bring that one in, rook a6. It seems like great compensation, I would imagine here. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece on c4.
Yeah.
I guess rook a6 first makes sense.
Yeah, to tie
The
the...
idea is to play rook c8 and maybe knight e3 after rook c8.
Okay.
Maybe you don't bother playing rook c8. Maybe you throw the knight back here first.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah. Actually, I just noticed there is a problem with rook c8.
Yeah.
Rook c8, rook c6.
Oh, now there's no longer a rook on a1.
Yes, knight a5.
Oh, you got c4 at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
nice. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
I just figured that.
Yeah.
But knight b8. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, obviously the rook can come back anyway. It's not.
A2 maybe.
A2, yes. Let's
defend the b2.
Yeah, and defend b2.
Yeah. So rook d1, knight e3 kind of threatens.
Yeah. So I guess knight d7.
Maybe that could be the reason why I don't want to play rook a6.
Yeah, so maybe
I'm just helping you to get the knight to a nice position.
So maybe rook d1 anyway.
Yeah.
Instead. Yeah, first.
And knight e3, as you mentioned at some point, is interesting. But I suppose b2 is on pre in those lines. But rook d1 looks a bit of pressure here, isn't there?
There is. Yeah,
I think so.
It's a little bit uncomfortable, I've got to say.
Yeah. I think this is a great chance for Vladislav. You know, he's okay. I mean, I'm not even clear he's better, but he's got some pressure, and that's all you can ask for, right? In position like this.
I think in such scenarios, it's always great to have a position where you have compensation, and you know that you are not going to lose. But of course, here he has to win. He has to win to stay in the game.
Well, he's played rook a6.
Okay. And once again, listening to us might not be such a great
I think that's a given.
Yeah.
Well, at least us anyway. Not you, Harry. Not you.
Yeah.
So knight b8 is nice. Knight b8, knight d7, knight f6 is actually quite nice.
Okay, so what about if you go rook a2 again, that one, and then after knight d7, go knight e3 immediately?
Right. You have this c4 idea.
Oh, c4.
Yeah.
But I have knight b4, Simon. So knight f6, let's say.
Yeah.
It was just luck. Knight b4.
Yeah, but maybe we can work on that because that's kind of an interesting option.
And now wondering
on the board.
Might be out of the board. Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm actually just wondering if if A2's this is getting a bit worrying. Maybe not A2 is the right because this.
Actually, A2 is nice, Simon. Knight d7, you can go rook d1. Why not just to go rook d1?
Okay.
After
first.
knight f6, just go g4, g5.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's not your pawn, but still.
It's Harry. I don't mind being a pawn down.
No. I mean, I'm not pushing the Harry.
Oh, the Gary pawn.
Harry pawn. Yeah, the Gary pawn.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's
of
coming.
course. Yeah. H6 and H4.
Yeah.
So I think. Yeah.
Okay, but what if we go the other way? What if we go to b6?
But now you are losing something. Knight b. Oh no, you have knight b4. Okay. Yeah, maybe this rook on a2 is kind of annoying.
Yeah. Maybe it should be on a1 or something. I think is the knight b4, but
he's a2.
He's put it on a2. It looks the most sensible square, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just point this out. So knight takes. If rook takes, then rook takes pawn, and pawn takes c4. Again, this very jammy move, knight b4.
Jammy. Haven't heard that for a while, Danny. That's an old bit of English slang there, jammy. Or let's just see. Does anyone know what jammy means in the chat? It means a bit lucky. It's a great word though. You jam. Where's it come from? You jammy dodger, or maybe? I don't
know. Jammy. I don't know where it comes from.
Also, instead of c4, you can perhaps think about something like rook a6, or it doesn't really make much of sense here because I'm threatening c4. And another thing I want to say is that I mean, bishop takes d5, e takes d5, rook d5 is also not completely, without chances.
True.
Sometimes this can be annoying too.
He's gone very simple. He just wants to go rook a1 and
take the pawn
and just have the pawn. Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear if white manages to win a pawn back, then white is really, really enjoying himself.
Yeah, but also notice bishop on d2 covers b4.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say that's his main point. So knight 7 b6, he's gonna take knight b6, and rook b6, rook takes a7.
So this is serious compensation. Really serious, actually.
Yeah.
Well, this would be fantastic for the match if he manages to hit back.
Yes.
How's Magnus looking? Let me have a quick look at him.
He looks pretty similar to normal, I think. I think he realizes he wouldn't want this position before the game. That is for sure. This is the kind of position he'd love to have as white. I mean, he's on the back foot here, and well, Vladislav's not going to get a better opportunity, I think, really, than this. Even if Magnus plays great.
I feel Vladislav got the best exactly in the current situation of the match, and this is also kind of positions which he really enjoys and plays really well.
I'm really interested to know the origin of the word jammy. I know people are going to tell me off for going off track, but I love Marbles Collector has said a reasonable guess is that jammy comes from when jam was a rare luxury, lucky jam was available to buy. I don't know. I'm sure someone can Google it. I just want to know what I used to use the word jammy a lot as well. So it's a good word.
Yeah, it is kind of school playground.
It is,
isn't it?
It is.
Apparently, it's a bit rude, Simon. I don't know.
Was it? I don't know the origin. I can claim ignorance. So if it is rude,
It can't be rude. It's something that school kids use all the time.
Okay. It can't be that rude. I can think of worse words.
Yeah.
So.
Now, for example, that word which you make everyone say, what's that?
Discombobulate.
Yeah.
Discombobulate.
Yeah.
That's a nice word, discombobulate.
That is a beautiful word. That's where that came from.
Oh, yeah. Rolls off the tongue. So, okay. Well, Magnus is finding a way to try and hold his position together. Like jam. Okay, knight e3 played. So, I mean, if he can win the pawn on a7, Vladislav, then he's going to be very happy because he'll keep the two bishops.
Yeah.
He'll keep all the advantages and he won't be any material down. So it's you don't want to lose that pawn. But is there any way? I mean, you can't go rook a8. I mean, c4s are going to hit you, I'm sure.
Well, is he going to do something very grovelly? Take on e3 and play knight c8. Is he going to do this?
I think he has to do it. Yeah, I mean,
bishop f4. Your rook nearly gets embarrassed, right?
No, I have to play bishop d6. Yeah.
You have to play this and go for this ending. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Then rook b8.
Yeah, rook b8. I think this is getting close.
This is going. I mean, the ending after rook a8 is okay for black. Okay, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
King is reaching.
The king's coming quick.
So
Okay.
take some knight c8. So, okay, instead of exchanging off,
rook a6 maybe.
Now bishop f4 becomes a real possibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I might have to make that move that you loathe so much. Harry.
No.
No, you just say I won't entertain it.
No. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want. Yeah, you don't want to play that.
No.
It's kind of this kind of position where I can imagine Magnus is really uncomfortable because he hates playing anti-positional moves, right? And if he starts playing like knight c8. He's going to be really against his principles of playing so passively. He's like, oh, I can't bring myself to play this. I think this is, it's certainly not a position Magnus will be enjoying at the moment.
Yeah, he would be looking for some kind of forced force sequence of moves where he can somehow exchange pieces, but I do not see. Yeah, he did play knight c8.
Okay, so this is playing. Yeah, right.
Oh, Simon, he's listening to us.
I know. It's just this is worrying. It's worrying. I worry for it's getting worse.
On the other hand, also, I mean, White can think of just expanding, h4, h5, or something like this, since the knight is fixed on c8, rook on c7, bishop on e7. I mean.
I was just trying to think of a way to exchange off this bishop, and
of course.
was thinking this, but c4 of course could be a terrible weakness, and then rook a5 just stops that immediately. So it's very hard to find any active move.
Well, he's played rook a6, and the next move played g5 is a move. I remember Keith Arkall, he did a course at Ginger GM, and Keith said to me, if Black is ever able to play g5 in any position, then Black is doing very well. That was his generalization, because generally when you play g5, it's a luxury move, right?
So first move d4 is the good move, Danny. So you can't play g5.
I'll remember that next time I'm playing Keith.
I mean, actually, g5 makes a lot of sense here, right? He's stopping h4 and h5.
Bishop f4. Yeah. Good move.
I would like to play h4 here.
Open it up.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't think you would like to play g takes h4, right? Or you want to be brave? Okay,
I want to be brave. Come on. It's not my position.
Okay, if you take bishop h4, then I'm happy. Rook g1.
Yeah, or bishop h6 first as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually bishop h6. No. Bishop h6. Yeah, bishop.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh.
If you don't mind, I'd like to put the pieces back.
In their starting squares, or
No, I'm going to play h6 very quickly.
Yeah. h6 is what I would. I thought you would play.
Yeah. So what I thought I'd play, but it's just I don't know what happens.
No, for sure we have to show what happens after g takes h4.
Okay, we've got developments, because after g5 it's gone rook c6, so trade of rooks, and then king g7.
Rook a5, I expect.
He's played it. Yeah. h6. So now White is winning his pawn back.
But I don't want to take that pawn. I want to move my bishop from c6 first. So I don't know which is the best square here. But
he's just taken it.
Okay. Kept it simple. And how do you guys assess this position then? I mean, is Magnus okay?
It depends on the assessment of rook a5, I think, because that's suddenly really critical.
Yeah, here maybe Black is doing okay with some kind of force things like rook c8, rook c7.
Rook c8. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I missed that. Okay, he's played.
Yeah, bishop f3.
Bishop f3. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
So I guess the one simple plan for White is to queen those pawns and attack the a7 pawn. I like plans like that. But Black's g5 looking very useful now. You can start using the majority of 4 pawns to create counterplay. So g5 is a class move. Yeah. And like Keith said, if you're ever able to play g5, you're okay. So that was
Also, I thought Vladislav could have waited a bit before taking the pawn, because knight is not coming out of c8, so he could move the bishop back to f3 first and then take on c5. So,
but hang on, isn't it still rather unpleasant?
I think so. Yeah,
it is unpleasant.
Okay, let's just start with rook a5.
So knight c8 is an option or not? Knight c4, sorry. I'm not playing knight c8.
All water under the bridge because he's played b4.
b4, okay.
Okay, that's nice.
And now He's trying for knight c4 again. It's still certainly better for white, this position. I don't think there's any doubt with those pawns looking very scary. Bishop is nice.
Yeah, the knight is a bit annoying. So we've got moves like rook c7, knight b5.
Yeah, you need the bishop on d3 actually to stop all kinds of knight b5, knight c4, knight f5 check or anything. But I don't know how to achieve that.
Okay.
Yeah, g4 is good. G4 is good. Stops knight f5 check.
Okay, so you want to go king e3.
King e3, bishop e2, and bishop d3.
Very nice.
Clever stuff.
Yeah. 2700 strength stuff, that is.
Yeah.
No, for such moves for Vladislav comes pretty naturally. I have played against him, and even like if he's on seconds, he would play such move without. I mean, if you all your childhood, you thought don't put your pawn on same color as your bishop, and then you play g4. How do you explain that, Simon?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you assess this endgame?
Yeah, I guess I have to take, yes.
Yeah. Now, king.
I understand your point. Since I no longer have f4,
So the king can come here.
Yeah. So c4.
Okay. So come here.
c5, king d4, and you kind of block it, yeah. King d3.
So king d3.
King d3, yes.
Yeah. Now, thing is, just for a moment, the knight is really bad.
Yeah.
That's maybe the issue.
Yeah. If I manage to push c5, king c4, I think
exactly.
It's just over.
So maybe that's okay.
Yeah, he's kept the rooks on instead. I mean that did look like.
So it's gone g4, rook d7,
and c4.
C4, yeah.
And here they come.
Ooh, Artemiev down to a minute and a half. Carlsen 3.5 minutes. Where did the time go? It's ridiculous. Suddenly, it's got a bit random again.
So he's gone king e7. Maybe he has to try some. Well, f5 doesn't really help, but you can if you can get that rook out of the way and just start throwing the pawn up the board, it's going to be difficult. So I like your bishop e2, king e3, bishop e2. Looks quite clever, right?
Yeah, but also rook c6 here.
No, I think the idea for black is to play f6, knight f7, and place the knight on e5.
Oh,
okay. Nice dark square, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't want to, I can think of going knight g6, knight f4, but for the moment, I need to put that knight in a nice square, and knight on e5 cannot be disturbed. So that's his idea.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. So in fact, my rook c6 would in fact encourage, once again, a very good move. And with tempo. This might be the issue.
Also, what can I play after rook c6? You are actually
he's played rook c6. Yeah,
you're kind of forcing me to play rook. F6 on the board.
They're following our ideas again.
Yes,
very worrying.
It's quite logical. I mean, I can't move the rook from d7. I can't move the king, so I have to play f6.
Yeah. But it's a really nice move, and Magnus played it instantly, and it's the kind of maneuver that it's kind of slow motion, but actually very hard to meet. And look at Artemiev, 20 seconds left.
So let's try king e3. Okay, he's gone this way. I really like this bishop on e2 covering everything. Actually,
Yes.
I thought this was a very nice idea. Okay, but he's got out of the way of that one, and Magnus finds that square immediately. Very nice.
Yeah, one of the problems in the match situation is like if white makes small inaccuracy, black can just make draw. So that fear is in his mind. So he's rechecking every move couple of seconds, whereas Magnus is playing the kind of moves which he has to make anyways. So yeah, that's the problem.
I'm looking at that knight hopping in here with all kinds of fun stuff going on for black.
12 seconds for Vladislav as well, and this is another reoccurring problem that Vladislav has.
That's a draw.
No, I don't think he will take draw. Rook c7. Why should I take draw?
Play for the win.
Play for the win. He can now. Yeah, that's true.
Well, he has rook c7 playing
knight knight c4.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
He's just traded.
It's draw. Yeah.
So this is now a draw. Lots of things being exchanged, and
Rook h7 and rook h6. Yeah.
Okay.
The Hoover has come out.
Yeah.
And that's,
For example, some things, the exchanges part, I think he took a lot of time, because he has to think. He can't afford to lose. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Draw made. So. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So it was looking good, but it's so hard to beat Magnus, right? I mean, he's an incredible defender as well. We don't always see him defend because he often gets good positions early, but when he's forced to defend, he can do it very well. G5, star move. Keith Harkar was right. G5. It's the move to play, So it was a very, very good move. I quite like your H4, Harry. I think that was a good way to try and unbalance things rather than
go for
exchanges.
In fact, it doesn't really. I don't think it disturbs the position, does it?
I mean, maybe you can try something on the H file at some point, potentially.
Yeah.
Maybe it's but. Yeah, I mean, just to let everyone also know the match situation, the next game, there's a little break. Brilliant defense, really. And there's 2 games due to be played. But the situation now, Magnus 1.5 out of 2. He just needs a draw out of either of the next 2 games. If he gets a draw, then, as you saw from the scores, he will be on 2 points. The best that Artemiev can do is draw today. And Magnus won yesterday. So is there any chance Vladislav can get 2 out of 2? There's always a chance, but Magnus is playing well, right? It must be very slim, very slim.
I think a couple of things here. Simon Magnus is playing good, and that's not a surprise. And the second thing is due to match situation, I believe that Vladislav is taking much more time than he normally would. And that kind of that important seconds are required in order to find to keep chances at crucial moment, and that's what is going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really pick up the pace since yesterday. But it's very, very difficult. I mean, you've got to get the right positions against Magnus to have a chance as well. So it's like he did get that in that game, but Magnus defended well, didn't he? I mean, he found all the best moves really in order to defend. I don't know if it was you, Danny, who was telling me, or maybe it was even again, it might have been Grischuk again, but someone was mentioning the first time Kramnik sort of spoke about Magnus Carlsen and realized how strong Magnus Carlsen was. Kramnik was playing Magnus Carlsen, and it wasn't when Magnus was world champion. He just appeared on the scene, and Kramnik had a nice ending against Magnus, which he assumed to win, right? Kramnik, one of the best endgame players of all time. He's playing this young Norwegian kid, and Magnus held the ending, and Kramnik was really shocked, and he went to look at the ending afterwards, and Magnus basically played something like 30 top stockfish moves in a row, and Kramnik just said, this guy is just unbelievable. If Kramnik can't win an ending against this probably kid at the time, because the guy just finds all the defensive moves, it's just like, wow. And I think that's how when Kramnik realized how strong and talented Magnus was. And
I think that game might have been at the London Chess Classic.
2011 or?
Yeah, I can't remember. All the years just left together. But yeah, I think it might be the one I'm thinking of is a game where Magnus was a piece down, and he just had a terribly difficult endgame, but somehow sacrificed a piece and just clung on with his fingernails. And actually, it probably was a win for Kramnik, but incredibly difficult. But yeah, everyone was expecting Magnus just to resign and for many moves, and he managed to hold it. Yeah, I mean that's the one that sticks in my mind. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think defending is the hardest thing to do. Defending tough positions, tough endings is probably the hardest skill to master. It's not that much fun, really, either. So that's the problem.
Yeah, let's just start at the start of this endgame. Let's look at Magnus's moves here. So knight b6, rook a2, it's pretty horrible. So we had this position. I mean,
firstly, I would like to point that h4, to start with h4, it might be slightly better way, you know. Harry pawn should be pushed.
Harry pawn should always be pushed.
Yeah, but that's really interesting. I mean, that's so subtle because in this kind of position, you know, Artemiev doesn't have much time. Rook a6 just feels like one of those sort of natural moves you make, particularly as it contains a threat with bishop f4 because d6 is now covered. But yeah, maybe a mistake because of this brilliant move g5. So, but if we flick in h4 first, then life could be a little bit difficult because, of course, if we play h6, well, you know...
I'm not sure if I want to play h5, but
yeah, I was going to say h5, maybe bishop g5 actually.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Then
and another position where he could wait a bit, you know, before capturing the c5 pawn, which I was also a little bit surprised.
This position,
he can wait. He can wait with this bishop.
Maybe bishop e4 to. Can you? Oh no, because then I like your idea of putting it on d3, but it's,
you can bring from a4 c2 if you want to.
Okay. Yeah. Looks quite interesting
But
idea.
also bishop g2 or bishop f3, just to remove this bishop first, and then you can take on c5 and have rook c7 at once.
Right.
And also, I believe king on c2 is much better. So in that case, if you get king d3, king c2, because you can take this pawn anytime you wish to.
I think that's a very, very good point. Because in the game, well, if we let's just show the game and what happened, because magically Magnus succeeded in getting his rook to the 7th, which just, I mean, there's still obviously white still has some advantage here, but the black has stabilized. So instead of this, we're looking at bishop g2 instead. Okay, well, rook d8.
Yeah, now I can take on c5 perhaps.
And the rook can
comes.
get to the 7th.
So I'm not sure if bishop on f3 or g2, but yeah, that can be.
And maybe, as you pointed out, even a bit later on. I mean, there was many.
You can wait. You can wait. Of course, you don't have to take c5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even here, I really liked your, instead of even c4, king e3. It seems very nice, and put the bishop around. You stop all this plan, and the bishop finds some better squares. This also looked like very good try to win.
Yeah, I mean, if we stick to the plan of the game,
well, at least we're a lot quicker here.
Well, now bishop a6, bishop c8 is one thing. I mean, there are all kinds of ideas. No, now it's a completely different case.
And you can just push the pawns very soon. They're going to start to come.
Yeah.
Also with c4, somehow b4 kind of is a weakness. I mean,
it destabilizes just for a moment, doesn't it?
Yeah. Very small points, but I think, as you mentioned, like when you're so short of time, you have to be so accurate. And these little moves, which even the computer would probably not pick up as being major problems for white, if you combine them and you combine all these little errors, they lose the winning chances, right? And that was the problem that Vladislav had with his time handling. He's got black in the next game as well, so this is going to. I mean, I what should he try to do with the black pieces? I mean, play his normal game and just hope, I guess.
I think most important thing would be not to end up worse in the opening, you know.
Yeah.
And afterwards we can take it from there, and also not to be behind like 5 minutes or 7 minutes on the clock, because you know, even if let's say he gets a promising position, he needs time to find the winning plan.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So play reasonably quick. Try to play confident. And just don't get a bad position. So easier said than done.
I'm actually, I wouldn't say he should get a better position, but if he doesn't get a bad position, that's a good start. I feel.
Okay, all right. We've been told roughly 5 minutes till the next game. So we're going to do a short commercial break. But Danny, if you want to stock up on tea,
I might put the kettle on.
You go and do that, and we're probably a good time to do it.
Right.
And Harry, do you have enough tea there?
I have water for now.
Solid. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and then we're going to get ready for the next game. Not too long now.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things. Breathe better. Live better.
Freedom! So fresh, so new. Freedom! It's all for you. All for you. Freedom! Keep your ear to the ground. Talking about the freedom. It's the best show in town. Best show in town. Freedom. Freedom. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. What? Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger, remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging, I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy, logically, I'm impossibly wanted, and they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
Watch chess tournaments online. Don't just watch.
So we're back, and we can actually see that the next round has started already. So as soon as Danny gets his cup of tea, that is always the way it works. So I'm just going to leave the board on there so you guys can see what's actually happening. I think by now you probably know what Vladislav needs to do. It's due for 2 more games to be played, and Vladislav needs to win both of those games to take it to a playoff. And this is going to be the real main test, I feel, this next game, because he's got the black pieces. And we mentioned, Harry, that at this level, Vladislav's openings are a little bit shaky, right? And this has always been maybe a weakness of his openings.
Yeah, it's his weakness and it's his strength as well. So therefore, he relies a lot on the middle game as well as end game, of course. But in some situations like this, it's a weakness. Yeah,
it's quite funny how you say that, Harry. That it's his weakness and strength, because I actually find this is quite common in chess, actually, because I think. I'm an optimist when I play, as you might have guessed. and when I attack, being blindly unsure what the computer's assessment is has helped me quite a lot in the past, because I think, I can just keep attacking and keep the pressure on, and that's won me some good games. But if I was aware of what the computer says, I probably wouldn't have started these attacks in the first place. And there is a fine line, but strengths and weaknesses, it can work like that a lot, I feel. Yeah. So
of course. There are players who analyze with the computer, and they feel so disappointed in their openings or in their moves. But there are players who obviously knows that they are not playing the best moves, but they don't care, and that's it. It's like a gift and a curse, you know.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, it's like a lot of openings can be very suspect, but they might work really well for players up to a certain point. But I think the important thing is, at some point, if you're playing something a bit dubious, you have to change at some point. You know, going back to the game, Harry, we see it started off with a Najdorf. And this is a perfectly good choice from Vladislav, right? He needs to win. He plays the Sicilian. A little bit surprised here that Magnus did not play the bishop b5 check line that he did yesterday when he needed to draw. That worked out very well for him. I wouldn't have thought Vladislav would have a lot of time to find some improvement. Instead, Magnus goes for an open Sicilian, which can be more tactical. But now, probably a wise choice, Harry. I mean, there's lots of sharp lines you can play. Bishop coming to these two squares often leads to very adventurous positions. But bishop e2 is a calmer positional way to play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Bishop e2 is really solid. Of course, on move 6, white has so many options. I don't want to go and tell all the moves there.
Okay, you know what, Harry? I think
let's do it.
Okay, at top level, all of these moves have been played recently. B3, A4, A3, bishop E3, bishop here, bishop F4, rook G1, H3, bishop E2, bishop D3, bishop C4, F4, F3, knight B3. I mean, is there anything else? H4,
queen
of course.
Queen E2, Queen E2.
Queen E2, Queen D3,
Queen
F3. It's like everything, right? Every move has been tried pretty much.
I'm not sure if Queen D2 has been tried, but I have to check.
Queen D2, so I expect we'll see that at some point. But
I hope not.
I mean, come on, if you have to put the queen here, this is just getting desperate. But
okay, it's somewhat like B3, bishop B2, yeah. So
yes,
okay, why Queen D2? Yeah, I have no idea.
I know Queen D2 would be a little bit over the top. So, but we have bishop E2, which is just sensible, and now we get G6, which, well, I suppose I've coined the Dragodorf. It's a mix between the Dragon and the Najdorf, which makes some sense. G4 is now a very common answer to this, and I do remember that Magnus, when he was a lot younger, has also played this system as black, and he got destroyed by Motilev. Because I used to play this system as black as well, and Motilev just destroyed him in this. And I think the Dragodorf is very interesting, but it is a bit risky.
Yeah. For example, bishop e2 is, I think, useful move compared to a6 in Dragon. Like if you start from g6, in that sense, bishop e2 is a normal move, whereas a6 is not necessary.
Right. Yeah. A6 may be a little waste of time, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you can get b5 in, sometimes it can be a use, but that can be really weakening as well with the bishop often. I think you know, even here, okay, g4 played, you know, something, if you play this move immediately, then bishop f3 can be really quite scary a lot of time. But okay, we'll stick with the game. So g4, and Vladislav has now played h6. So he's at least getting maybe a kind of position he would want, even if it is a bit dubious. Bishop g7 and now f3, and I know this position quite well, actually, just because I've had some experience in it, unfortunately from black.
Unfortunately or fortunately?
Mainly unfortunately, because I just feel that there's a lot of liberties being taken here with black's pawns, and okay, I mean, I'll play a couple more moves and we get Danny's, I think, teed up now. Yeah. So b5. Now you don't always need to play a3. I mean, the one advantage of black now is that the bishop can't easily get to f3. I mean, you've always got to think about whether a4 is a move, but okay, a3 does hold things up. Bishop b7, queen d2, and yeah, I played this kind of stuff a lot actually as black. Well, I have done. Knight c6. I normally put the knight on d7. In the long run, there's just problems of like h4, h5, and the f pawn and the g pawn coming in the long run. So, but it's a position, Danny and Harry, that is maybe what Artemiev needs with black. He needs some unbalanced position. I'm going to give you control back now, Danny, and you guys can let me know what you think about this.
Yeah, it's sorry. Go ahead then.
No, I was just, no. I was just going to say I love control.
Yeah.
Well, Carlsen's queenside. Yeah. So okay, that raises the stakes.
Yeah, and I it just reminds me some positions which can arise from the modern defense, just with the pawn on c7, and I believe that knight is not exactly on d4, but the pawn is on d4, and where black plays knight at d7, e6, and knight b6, knight 8, d7, and so on. Yeah. I'm not really fan of this move, knight c6. I would like to keep both the knights to get knight b6 and knight e5 to jump somewhere on c4. It's also kind of Sicilian idea, but maybe Vladislav feels it's too slow.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried this setup lots of times. The knight going knight b d7, and as you say, you want to try to go knight b6 and move the other knight to d7. Get some counterplay on the queen side, and it's certainly possible. The knight on c6, it just feels a bit slow, right? I mean,
but the only thing is, I understand what you mean. I mean, I would normally play the knight to d7 here, but okay, let me try and speak for the case for knight c6. That after this exchange here, then it might be more a bit easier to actually get in b4. He's played b4 straight away.
Well, this is certainly interesting. Wow. Yeah, certainly an interesting idea.
Okay, so he wants
pawn,
yeah. What happens here? He just wants to play what? Rook b8? I don't know.
Yeah, it has to be rook b8. No, what else?
Just.
But
so that's his idea with knight c6, basically.
Yeah, but if white wants to just liquidate everything, knight c6, bishop c6, 8 takes b4, any move I would go e5. I mean 8 takes b4.
Ah, I see.
I just need a draw. Okay, I think white is even better, but yeah. Okay.
No, that's a fair point. So I wonder whether he's got to play queen c7 first.
Queen b8 or queen c7.
Queen b8.
Okay.
Queen b8. Right. Queen b8. Okay. We're getting there. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm amazed that Magnus has gone for e4.
Well, you know what, Danny? We while you were getting the tea, we also mentioned that. Remember, he played bishop b5 check and got a very nice position yesterday. So he could have done that. Then, play this. I mean, even if White's doing well, it is very sharp stuff, right? So yeah, agree with you, Danny. Yeah,
it's like he's just saying, okay, I'm going to play my normal stuff.
Maybe he's flexing.
Flexing is exactly the right word.
Yeah.
No, I think also, when Magnus doesn't go for something risky, when the game is decided by one game, and when it is more games, he takes his chances. He doesn't care. And you can see this from the World Championship match, against Sergei Karyakin, where he just played something simple in the last round and went for the tie breaks. So I have seen this in many other events as well.
Yeah.
Since he has 2 games, he can take risk. Yeah.
And he obviously believes in White's chances, I feel, in this kind of structure. And I think the one thing, as I said, he has played this position a fair bit as black as well, this kind of idea in his youth. So, and he stopped playing it after that horrible loss. And I think that could be like, right, well, why don't I just play what made me give up the variation? Let's just play principled good moves. Queen b8 played, by the way. So, okay, interesting.
I wonder whether he's going to play knight d5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knight d5 is quite tricky, actually. I was thinking that.
For a start, it doesn't lose a pawn.
Yeah, of course.
That's my first thing.
And I can't really go a5 because is b5 still? Oh, I don't know.
No, whether it works or not, I have to go a5 at some point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so let's try it now.
Now it is not the time to think about playing solid.
True. We just got to play it anyway, and fingers crossed, Jobby.
Yeah, I mean, you play b4 and you want to play solid. No.
Yeah, you can't. And I'm wondering if b5 works now or not. Maybe knight takes d5 is.
Yeah, but I think that's the issue in this position. If you don't take on d5 first, then here and knight d5 is actually quite annoying because
exactly.
Yeah. Black's.
Then we're fine.
Black's in the game. I mean,
I'm not sure about this one actually.
Interesting stuff. He's gone knight d5, played. So we're kind of expecting this this move now. Interesting stuff, definitely.
What
do we play knight b6?
Okay.
Am I worried about such things?
Simon's first choice is 8x b4.
Of course. we don't even think here.
Yes.
I had anticipated this, but here
we're kind of all in. So
all in, and then I take on b4 because otherwise.
Wow, greedy! Yeah, come on.
No. This he will be very happy. Whether it works or not, he's going to play this.
I will start playing the Dragadorf in all my games again if I got this.
Now we have something interesting on the board.
Okay.
So
a5. So it went after knight d5 instead of a5. It's gone bishop takes.
Okay.
Here, a5 here.
But maybe this bishop takes d5 seems a bit funny because you wanted to get rid of the pawn on b5, right? So
so what are you going to do after this one?
Well, I'm hoping something like
I guess b3.
b3, yeah.
Yeah, b3.
Okay,
King b2, right?
Feeling nervous?
King b2.
Not really. King b2.
Not at all.
I'm very safe.
You know why we don't feel nervous? Because a7, a6, a5, a4, a3, everything is controlled, and my bishop is on d4.
Yeah, I was trying to engineer something crazy like this.
Oh wow!
And here, but the problem is the king just goes here. This is a shutout. Yeah. Otherwise.
Thank you.
Otherwise, game on. Well, he's castle kingside, but I think he should have kept the option of taking on b5 with a bishop because if you can't get through on the b file, how do you get through?
So king b1, I guess.
Yeah. He's played it, yeah. How does black get counterplay here?
No, I don't see because like if he exchanges the bishop, let's say knight d7 or something, but then what is his attacking piece?
I'm not sure. No, I mean,
and white is probably going to play h4, g5, or just push the pawns on the king side.
Yeah, I mean, white's plan is now very simple, right? I mean,
yes.
white has pretty much consolidated his king, it seems to me.
Yes.
And he can just play, as you say, h4, blah blah blah. He can maybe put his king on a2 if he wants to as well. What's black going to do here? Black can't do anything. Then this is really bad news for Vladislav.
No, he needs to get rid of this b5 pawn, but how do I do that?
I think people are mentioning the Dragadorf. I mean, maybe. I mean, that idea of going a5 was very interesting, actually, rather than taking on d5 in this position. This move, it might be in a lot very bad for some reason.
Sometimes, yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Simon. I was going to tell the same thing.
Yeah, I think it might be bad, but you've got to play it. Yeah, I mean, yes. but it looks interesting because at least this way, if b5 is ever played, we can take that pawn.
Yeah.
So.
And also another important point is that you can see the time difference, 5 minutes.
Right.
And this is exactly the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magnus laughing again there as well. I mean, is he laughing at the Dragadorf? Or have either of you two ever had an experience where your opponents just started laughing at one of your moves or laughing at all? Probably not with Harry because you're too strong, but
no, I don't think.
No. I'm trying to think. Actually, I'm sure it has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, sorry. My opponent was furious after I won against him.
Okay.
He started shouting and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but he was elderly gentleman, so I didn't say anything. But
okay.
Yeah.
Was this a long time ago, or?
Yeah, it was. I remember the tournament event 2002 actually.
2002. What? Where was it? The British Chess Championships? No. Okay. Phew, it was probably like.
No.
Okay. Are you going to reveal a little bit more? Come on. Where was it?
It was in Pardubice Open, but I don't want to tell the name of the person.
No. Okay. Sure. Yeah. No. You don't have to mention the name.
It was just like just sports persons. It can happen out of the tension or whatever.
So he started shouting at you because he thought he was winning, or like?
Actually, he had a good position. Probably he did have a reason to shout at me, but it's not nice.
I don't think that's a reason to shout at you just because he had a good position. To be honest, I mean,
but it is an experience, I would say.
We've been told by our producer, who's from the Czech Republic, and this is in Pardubice, that Harry, you've laughed at his moves many a time before. I'm not sure if that's true, but I mean, I think, some manners at the board. I think everyone. Pretty much everyone higher levels have got that, but
I was not playing against him. That's the difference. It's usually because he's my teammate, so obviously we are analyzing at dinner or something like that.
Yes.
I never played against him.
Okay. So, but it's always good to have a bit of a laugh about people's moves after the game when maybe you're having in a more relaxed atmosphere. Yeah.
I can think of circumstances where spectators have laughed at my position.
Oh, really? Right. Okay. Is that rather off-putting?
Sorry.
Is that rather off-putting?
Which is worse, frankly. It's pretty bad.
Depends on the spectator. I mean, if someone like Magnus Carlsen just came to your board and started laughing, it might be a bit off-putting, But if it was like, Billy from the pub or something, then maybe not so bad. But...
Anyway, pretty bad experience, but what can you do? I'm not going to chase them around the tournament hall.
Yeah, these kind of positions actually it's so interesting. Like here, white is probably winning, but if you remove just that dark square bishop on d4.
it would be pretty bad news, yes.
Yes, but doing an amazing job, right, on d4.
Yeah, massive. Yeah, I mean, I think after leaving that pawn on b5, as we saw, just black wasn't able to get any counterplay whatsoever, and this pawn on a2 helps white as well, right? The pawn on a2 helps. Well, okay, maybe it's safe anyway, but the white king is so safe in these positions. So yeah.
Well, he's going to try and stir things up. So
he's got to try. Yeah,
he's going to break.
Is Magnus laughing or still?
Magnus has been laughing, I think. Yeah,
it looks like I'd call it a wry smile.
A wry smile, yes. Okay. Yeah.
I hope it's not about some football match or something like that.
We had this yesterday. We were wondering why. Actually, in the official interview he does with the main Chess 24 show, Karja asked him yesterday why were you laughing? Like during the game yesterday, and he basically said, I can't remember, I don't know. So I expect he does. I expect he does. There must be a reason, but he just doesn't, doesn't want to share it.
But it's funny because Kaya also said, well, I'm going to try again. I'll ask you, because she's obviously asked this question before, and he just doesn't give much away.
Yeah.
He's become quite experienced at playing a very solid forward defensive.
So that's cricket, yeah?
Yeah, it's cricket. Oh, don't talk to me about cricket.
You don't follow cricket?
I do follow cricket.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. Do you want the latest score?
By the way, I thought that you can't watch cricket or football or other games while in progress, right? That's only for the players.
That's only for the players. I'm not watching it, but I can see the score.
Right.
England, in the second innings, India were 466 all out. Quite a good second innings.
Yeah.
And England are 49 without loss.
And you have to say what was the first innings score?
So India was 191 all out. And then second innings 466. England 290 first innings and now 49 for no loss. Basically, England need 319 runs to win.
Yeah, and how many days remaining? One? Or?
There's 1 day to go. I think they're actually still playing. They're still playing.
Yeah.
So there's a few overs left, I think. But yeah, basically, I think India are kind of in a winning position.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know what to speak of from this position because, this b5, c4, b3 with two bishops on d4, d3.
I was trying to play queen c5 here, but you know, even that, if you can still even take that and you're okay. But I mean, unfortunately, you know.
Okay, let me throw something in. Okay, so what about king h7 and queen h8?
But I just have queen b2. Yeah, after all this.
Yeah, queen b2.
Yeah, I know.
So he's following your idea. After c5, he's gonna take queen c5.
Okay.
Oh, that's tasty.
No, c5.
If you go c5, yeah.
So he wins the pawn.
Yeah, queen takes c5, bang.
Bishop c5, knight e4, check.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to get to work.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let me keep going.
Yeah, bishop takes b2.
Bishop takes.
King takes b2, knight c5.
Knight c5.
And a1 queen and knight d3. No.
Yeah, this is game on.
Yeah.
No, this is called helpmate or selfmate or whatever. Queen b2, of course, on the board. Yeah.
By the way, funnily enough, Magnus did not fall into this, but you know.
What a surprise!
Well, what a surprise! Magnus dodged the only way he could get a worse position.
He's anticipating king h7 and queen h8.
He's piling up.
Yeah, he's threatening rook takes c6 and then c5. Yeah, this is just over.
So Artemiev down to 2 minutes just to make life
as well.
Yeah, I mean 9 minutes difference in 15-minute rapid game is just too much.
It's not looking good. I don't even know what to recommend here, to be honest, for black. Okay, he's taken on c4. Now, what do you capture with here? I mean,
It's also possible to take rook e6 first, but
okay,
bishop c4
bishop takes
is simple.
The bishops cover everything at the moment.
No, and the bishop pair is just deadly.
Yeah. And also the b pawn, white's b pawn is going to be a game winner by the looks of it. You need to be able to play like rook takes d4 here.
Bishop on d4 is just monster, right?
It's too strong. Yeah. Far too strong.
Queen d8 probably he should play, but he should play fast.
Queen d8 played.
Queen d8, okay.
Because if he plays knight e8, which is the only other move, then bishop g7, and okay, you have no chance, right?
Yeah. So do we go b6 now, or is there something more?
I think b6 seems good, but
yeah, maybe it is.
I mean, there are so many moves which are good here.
Yeah.
And he has 11 minutes. I mean, that's a lot of time.
So it's looking very bad for Vladislav, who has come out fighting in this game. But okay, it makes sense to get rid of the dark square bishops, right? This is the only one thing you want to avoid, any cheapos with black dark square bishops. So if you can play g5, move the black knight, swap off that bishop, you're safe.
Let me just show one cheapo, which is after 98. Rook takes, and then queen e1. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not going to happen.
It's always a bad sign for someone, isn't it, when we're really desperately trying to find any way they can blunder the victory away. And
okay, g5. He should go g5.
Black should play g5, right?
Yeah, okay. I mean, if he plays white plays g5 and captures this bishop on g7,
it's dead, completely dead. Time situation's not getting better. He's getting down to a minute left now, so it's bad news. Bad news. I remember one funny thing at the Lloyds Bank happening, talking about spectators sort of laughing, and there's a Lloyds Bank Masters was this fantastic tournament right in the centre of London, a really good tournament, and there was one year where it was like the last round. and two very strong players were playing for good prize money. And I think the winner or someone came along to their board and just started analysing their board, not realising they were still playing. So these two players were left in the tournament and they were playing. And this other grandmaster came along. He says, "Well, you just play this, and they're actually still in the middle of their game, and like we're playing still. But by the time this other guy had given his thoughts, which I thought was it's bad timing to analyse.
I remember Lloyds Bank by this fantastic victory of Alexander Morozevich. I think 8.5 points out of 9 or something similar like this.
He that was in maybe 93, 94, 94. So I think 94 actually. It was he.
I think
such a talent.
And he was playing some great openings, wasn't he? And he always has done, like
Chigorin and
Chigorin, E4, E5, D4 was this other one, and
something like this.
The Albion counter gambit and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, he was a really unique player.
Yeah, but Lloyds Bank was a really fun tournament actually. I played in the very first Lloyds Bank tournament, which was in like probably 1979 perhaps.
Wow.
And but they were all good. I mean they sort of moved around to various, they were usually in a hotel, but they were all really nice tournaments. Tactics.
Okay. So
let's just go back and see.
Rookie 7.
Oh, that's a killjoy.
King F8.
Yeah, King F8.
Yeah, game goes on. Maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure it does, but. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Rook E8 actually draws immediately or not. Rook takes E8, Queen G7.
Yeah, he's played it.
He's
calculated Bishop E8, F3, Bishop C6, F2, Bishop G2. Yeah. Or F3 actually B6 wins. Sorry.
I think we're going to see it. So Black's got one pawn left.
F3, B6 creates the square to come back.
Yeah.
And also Knight can't jump in, to D7 or C6 square. That's the
it's looking like this is the end. Just remind everyone, don't go anywhere when the game's over, because we do have the interviews, and we're gonna maybe we can see again. Maybe Karja can ask Magnus what he's laughing at yet again. It'd be good to know. So we might get an answer.
I would love it if you just said, I was obviously laughing at my opponent and some of his really silly moves. Whoa!
I don't think that'd be Magnus.
Not going to happen.
No, not going to.
And actually, Magnus isn't like that.
He's not like that. He's very humble very humble chap, actually, isn't he? Compared to other world champions, I would say.
Humble? I wouldn't use that word.
I think I say humble. He's confident in his own abilities, but he's not.
Yes.
He's not.
He's objective.
He's objective, and he's not. Completely arrogant. I'd say at least he's not that at all.
But he also understands what it's like to lose.
Yes.
And if you have that understanding, then obviously you're not going to just kind of dish it out to your opponent, basically.
No. Yeah. Well, I think this is just the end, isn't it? I mean, Bishop goes to B5, and
he has some defense like 95, 97, or 93.
Is he gonna?
What's this?
Well, he's gonna. I
have no idea. If B7, F2, Bishop B5.
Looks. Well, I think it's just game over, isn't it?
Yeah. White's just winning here. Yeah, he's done a good number on Vladislav, hasn't he, Magnus? He's proved to be very strong in this whole event. So,
and also, we of course we all. Magnus played fantastic, but also we have to give credit for Vladislav. He came all the way to finals, and playing Magnus is, it's much easier when you are following the game, but playing against him, it's possible to lose this way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, Vladislav has played great, hasn't he? I mean, the final, he's struggled a bit, but the other games he's played, he's been fantastic. You know, other matches, and even here, even in the final, he's had some chances. But
that's a really clinical move, Bishop D3, just preventing the king from not.
Yeah, I think King B4 should be winning as well.
Sure, but this is really clinical.
It'd be interesting to hear what he's got to say afterwards. Definitely.
I think the second game was the turning point, as in for Vladislav to come back. You know.
Yeah, today or today, yeah, and yesterday
today,
maybe as well.
Not about yesterday, but today.
Today, yeah, because he had a good position, as we were saying, and he had many chances where he could have kept that pressure on, which he didn't quite get a chance to use. So maybe you go Bishop F1 at some point. Stop.
No, B4 King A6.
Oh, stop C5. Okay,
Yeah,
that's the other way. Yeah, okay, yeah.
King A7. Okay, he's not going to give any of these pawns. Yeah,
sure.
he tried. Yeah.
Surely Vladislav has had enough by now.
No, but he's a fighter. I mean, probably there's nothing much to fight here, but he will fight.
Yes, there we go. There's only so much you can fight. So there we go. And Magnus, a big smile at the end there, which is great to see. Very worthy champion. Well, you know, Vladislav did really well to get to this situation, but Magnus just really playing great, I think, through the whole tour. Really, really impressive. And you can see the final scores there. Magnus victorious, and Aronian won the 3rd to 4th battle as Ali Reza couldn't play. So Vladislav still getting a decent prize, $15,000 there, of course. So well done. But Magnus taking the 30,000. So we're now going to wait for the interviews. So we will see the interviews, see what they're going to say, and yeah, I might myself take a quick bathroom break and just leave you guys for a second or two, if that's all right. So.
Sure. So, Harry, if you were going to just characterize Magnus's play in a couple of words, you know, what do you think his main strengths are? What is he doing that just gives him the edge over other players at the moment? What's so special?
I think his ability to understand the position is bit quicker than other players, and in general he's pretty confident, as you can see, like in this whole match against Vladislav, or even previous matches, he was much confident compared to previous events, and that is obviously visible. And of course, World Championship match is coming up, so probably the preparation part must have been.
Okay, so sorry to break in, but we're going to go over to the studio in Oslo, and we've got Magnus.
Ever that I've won one of these tournaments, and it's been fairly smooth ride, so that feels really good.
Yeah. Has it been your strongest performance overall, tournament-wise, in the tour so far?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. There were some shaky moments here and there, but overall, yeah, I think this is clearly my best.
And then, of course, winning this tournament, you gain another 40 points in the tour standing. So how aware, have you calculated, how aware are you of what that means for you in the tour final?
I know that it means that I'm further ahead than I was, but I think either way, at the moment, Wesley is the only one who's fairly close, and that would have been the same, regardless of whether I've won this tournament or not. But yeah, it's obviously very nice to have that little cushion, and to equalize the number of tournament wins that he has in this tour.
Yeah, so you now have 78 points more than Wesley. Probably will start the final with 4 more bonus points than him? And also thinking about the way you're playing now, how confident will you head into that tour final?
No, I'm feeling good. Obviously, generally, I'm not sure that I'm playing so much better, but I'm at least playing quicker and more confidently. So that's helping a bit.
And Magnus, first of all, congratulations. We also know that the World Championship is on the horizon in a couple of months. How much of preparations for that match helped your play in this tournament?
I'm not sure about that, to be honest, but maybe the World Cup helped a bit in gaining me some confidence. But in terms of World Championship prep, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Well, heading into Norway Chess, of course, in what is it, 2 days that starts? Busy schedule for you. So how do you feel about your form now going into an over-the-board tournament again?
No, it feels good. So I'm hoping to be able to continue the positive trend of the last couple of tournaments. Yes, as you say, it's busy, but it's been a couple of not so, or 1.5 not so busy years. So I don't mind that.
Well, are you anxious to face Jan Nepomniachtchi in Norway Chess? I have to ask. I'm
not sure if I'm anxious. I haven't thought about that too much. But I'm excited to play a big tournament. That's for sure.
And I also want to ask you about your opponent in the final here, Magnus. Vladislav Artemiev playing his second final here, only his third tournament, and he is ready to play the tour final. So what do you expect from, he's only 23, from Artemiev in the future?
I think, as I talked about earlier, his natural talent is undeniable, and that's why he does so well. And I think for him to make further steps, he has to have even better openings, and I think he knows that. But yeah, I think once he can fix that, he can go very far.
And today's games, Magnus, was there any moment that you were worried, or you thought it was under control the whole time?
No, I was pretty sure I was going to lose the second game, to be honest.
Why? Well, or when, maybe?
Well, I would say pretty early on, since I'd completely missed his idea of just going a5 and giving up the pawn. Since I had this weird idea that I was gonna, I sort of brought the wrong rook to attack his pawn, because I had this idea that I was gonna bring the rook that I brought, and then I was gonna grab the pawn on d3, like king g2, and I was gonna grab the pawn on d3, queen b3, and then I was gonna drop back with the queen, and then if he goes queen b3, obviously, I mean, knight d4 wins, which I only saw later. But just to explain the rationale between with the move of rook d8 is that I wanted to drop the queen back to d7, and then after I taken the pawn.
Okay.
And then when the queen moves, go back with the queen, and then I have a nice square in c8. Otherwise, the rook would be locked in. But that was really dumb, because this is like one concrete line that wasn't forced at all, and in all the other lines, the rook is just so much better. On a8, for instance, if he goes a5 like he does in the game, if I bring the other rook, then I can go knight d5 maybe. And I have ideas of going b5 and freeing my game a bit there. So, after he found this idea with a5, I sort of realized that my position was pretty bad, and I decided just to bite the bullet and take a pawn. But realistically, I don't think I should have held there in practice. But he spends a lot of time, and if you encounter surprises when you're low on time, things can go astray. So I was just trying to hold, not giving him anything too forced, and pounce when I had a chance. Fortunately.
Yeah, and it was a draw and 4 great wins in the final, Magnus. So thanks so much for all the entertainment in this tournament, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, the winner of the Aimchess US Rapid. And we're also joined by number 2 in the tournament, Vladislav Artemyev. I'm going to say congratulations on a great second place. How do you feel now?
Hello to everyone. Of course, I lost my final match, but still it's logical because Magnus played good, and I think that I not have chances in these matches if true. About last game, I played very risky probably, but I missed his idea with bishop d4, and that after a3 he can play b3 and stop at my pawn, and without real counterplay for black. Of course, I missed it, and after this, probably white is completely winning. And of course, also I missed his move bishop f7. In this moment, I think that it's draw, but after bishop f7, I lost again, and okay, it's finished. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this was a key moment, and you mentioned after bishop takes f7, just no more chances, right? Magnus spotting all of this from afar.
Yes, it's also very bad for me that white have move b6 later, because if bishop c6, for example, I think that it's draw because I can go f3, f4, and tempo knight e3 probably after bishop g2, and maybe it's draw. I think maybe.
Well,
because after bishop h3, knight d5 maybe, and not king a2, knight c3 check. Maybe, but still bishop f1, king g6. I don't know, but some chances on the draw.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Difficult position.
Definitely. And we did have, of course, Magnus here. He was really complimenting you on the player you are, Vladislav, and also talking about maybe working on openings and time management in the future. Is that exactly what is your focus going forward now?
Yes, I think that I must to improve my opening preparation with black and white also, because I feel that my opening level not enough for best players maybe. So I have paths where I can to be better, or of course, and I will see. Maybe I will have this work. Why not?
Yeah. And of course, you have qualified for the tour final. This is only your third event, and you have been able to gather up points to play the tour final. How happy are you about that?
Of course, I'm very happy because it will be a very great tournament. Only strong players, chess masters, and it will be very good lessons for me. And I planning beat some guys, of course, if possible. And of course, I will to prepare with opening also. And it big result for me, I think. Because of course I lost to Carlsen, but it happens. It's not. It's usual, yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to ask. So congratulations for qualifying for the tour final and finishing in second place. So I was just wondering, how long does it take for you to prepare for an event like this?
Thank you for congrats. I think that. I start training when I was a child, and it's a big way for me. But for example, when you play a tournament like this, usually about me, I start to prepare when we have second match. I speak about good preparation, yes. Because first match, it's like training, maybe not training, but you watch what can do your opponent and what is your possibilities.
Of course.
It's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Vladislav, I'm going to say congratulations again on second place, and we're looking forward to see you in the tour final.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Vladislav Artemyev taking second place here in the Aimchess US Rapid, the final regular event before the big tour final. They have had great tournaments, both Magnus Carlsen and...
Well, lovely to hear the players' thoughts there on the last day of this fantastic tournament, Champions Tour. It's been a great event, and it's continuing also for the next couple of years, which is great for us chess lovers, getting all the best players together in a great format. Now, we can try very briefly, I'm not going to spend much time on this because I don't understand it at all, but we can very briefly try to explain the point system. And the tour standings, and you can see the standings there. You can see how much these guys have earned. So there's some decent amount of money that has been won, and the top 8 guys get invited to the tour finals. 3 based on winning majors, so that's major competitions. That's Carlsen, Giri, Rajabov, I think. Then 2 wild cards. Hopefully Harry Krishna will be one of them. Finals will start on September the 25th. So that is the day. That's going to be the big one. That's the big event. 10 people. They play a mini match on every day, like they do now. 4 rapid games. Tie breaks are necessary. People who did well on the tour will get bonus points from the start. Carlsen and Wesley will have, therefore, a very big head start. So... that's kind of roughly how it works. But all you need to know is that it's the final crescendo big event on the 25th of September. That's not too far away now. And we can watch who's going to win the tour. It's going to be brilliant. Very much looking forward to that. And before I pass it over to Danny and to Harry, I'll just say thank you so much to everyone who's been watching. And it's been a real pleasure working with everyone. Harry, brilliant guest. Danny, always fun. And our brilliant producer today, thank you to him as well for making everything possible. So I'll let you guys end the show now, I guess. So.
Okay, I'll wrap things up. Harry, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a great pleasure to have your insights and your genial company. And Simon, it was great fun. And I think it's been a tremendous event where we've seen Carlsen in just such a smooth vein of form, actually. Really not in trouble in any games at all. So I'll just finish by saying, Harry, best of luck in the online Olympiad, whatever the format is. And Simon, thank you very much. See you soon. And it was great fun. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
And thank you, Simon, and thank you, Danny, for having me here. And thanks everyone who is watching and, obviously cheering for their favorite players. Without them, which is, of course, very important for any event. And I'm looking forward to the final. All top 8 are there, so I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. Right, folks. See you later. Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things. Breathe better. Live better.
Freedom! So fresh, so new. Freedom! It's all for you. All for you. Freedom! Keep your ear to the ground. Talking about the freedom. It's the best show in town. Best show in town. Freedom! I'm ahead of the game. String around my finger, remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly up my rock